After my CEO wife went bankrupt, everyone thought I'd take the money and run. I was the handsome trophy husband who only loved money, spending her cash on a life of leisure every day. However, I wanted to stick by her and help her make a comeback. If she just let a little slip through her fingers then, wouldn't I be set for life? But who would have thought her bankruptcy was just an act? When I transmigrated into this novel, it was already at the grand finale. The beautiful CEO was the villain who had already been defeated by the protagonist. I still remembered the last passage about her. The only things Chloe Sterling had left were the husband lying in that bedroom and his expensive watches and clothes. But Chloe herself knew that this man, who never paid her any mind except to ask for money, would soon leave with his watches and clothes. She would truly have nothing left. I rubbed my temples and thought of my supposedly bankrupt CEO wife, letting out a soft sigh. Chloe had always been pretty good to me since we got married. Now, I felt a bit embarrassed to just take the money and run while she was at her lowest point. At the very least, I should wait until she had her own income or career again. After spending a while sorting out my thoughts, I got up and started cleaning the messy apartment. Took a full 3 hours to stuff everything into a corner of my room. The pile reached the ceiling. There were over 100 watches and more than 80 outfits. At that moment, I desperately wished I could trade the clothes for more watches, since watches were much easier to sell. I had woken up at 2 in the afternoon. My stomach was growling, so I rummaged through the wallet on the coffee table and found an ID, a bank card, and $700. I didn't even bother checking the kitchen. We had just moved in 2 days ago, and neither of us knew how to cook, so the kitchen was bound to be empty. I had to find my own food. Fortunately, although the apartment Chloe rented was small, the complex was nice, with a bunch of restaurants right downstairs. I strolled downstairs and grabbed a bowl of noodles. Thinking about the sparse toiletries I'd seen in the bathroom, I then went to the supermarket for a bit and came back with a bag full of daily necessities. I bought a set for Chloe too, picking out colors and styles based on what I remembered of her preferences. Next, I started cleaning the rest of the apartment. I turned the knob and walked into Chloe's room, finding it spartan. Besides a few more items on the bookshelf and desk, there was only a bed and some essentials. I sighed helplessly. It must be tough for a woman who was born with a silver spoon to endure a life like this. I looked around and started tidying up. Time ticked by, and by the time the whole place was clean, it was already 10 p.m. I washed up, feeling a sense of peace, and set my late-night snack on the coffee table, ready to dig in. Just as I opened the package and was about to take my first bite, the sound of the front door unlocking echoed through the apartment. I looked up and my gaze met a pair of eyes as clear as autumn pools. The woman at the door looked at me, her face expressionless. Then her eyes swept across the room, a flicker of surprise in them before they returned to me. I took the same moment to size her up. She was an incredibly stunning woman, truly deserving of all the superlatives the author had used to describe her. Feeling Chloe's gaze on me, I unconsciously tightened my grip on my chopsticks, a wave of nervousness washing over me. After all, I was an imposter. Would someone like Chloe really not notice something was off about her husband? Her eyes made me feel as if nothing could be hidden from her. Did you hire a cleaning service? Do you have enough money? Her tone was flat, with a hint of scrutiny. I shook my head instinctively. No, I cleaned it myself. You cleaned it? Yes, I did it myself. Chloe's face was filled with astonishment as she stared at me. We locked eyes for a moment before Chloe looked away first. Is the money enough? It's enough. What about you? I asked out of habit, then immediately regretted it. The question made Chloe look over in surprise again, and then she slowly replied, enough. After that, we both fell into silence. Chloe glanced at the food I was eating on the table and suddenly said, I'm sorry. I didn't get it at first, but then I followed her gaze and quickly shook my head. No, you have nothing to be sorry for. Chloe walked over and sat on the other sofa, choosing her words carefully. The asset situation is mostly settled. Everything under my name has been liquidated. While there's not much left, there are no debts, so you don't have to worry about that. I have about $30,000 left. Once this is all sorted out, I'll start making money again as soon as possible. Your account should still have $60,000. I've already paid 6 months' rent on this place. If you want a divorce, I'll give you another $20,000. You can stay here until you find a new place. I knew in my heart that Chloe was being more than fair to me. Our total assets were only $90,000, and if we divorced, she was willing to give me $80,000 of it and let me stay here. She certainly wouldn't ask for the watches and clothes back, which would leave her with just a room and $10,000. Seeing my silence, Chloe added, the money I make in the future, I'll give you a portion of it each month, at least $3,000. Okay? I don't know what the future holds, so that's all I can promise for now. If I get a chance to make a comeback, I'll compensate you. Quickly shook my head, refusing. When Chloe saw me shake my head, she fell silent. I realized my gesture might have been misunderstood and immediately explained, No, I don't want a divorce, and I don't need you to give me money. Don't worry, I have enough to get by. I've accepted our new reality. I'll be more frugal from now on, and I'll start earning my own money. You don't need to put so much pressure on yourself. An average household doesn't spend that much in a month anyway. You don't want a divorce? But yesterday you said. It was then I remembered that the day before, I had apparently gotten angry, called Chloe useless, and demanded a divorce. My face stiffened. I was drunk then. I didn't mean it. I've thought it all through. I can't divorce you at a time like this. Since we're married, I'll take on my share of the responsibilities. You don't have to worry about me. I can support myself, no problem. Maybe I can even support you. As I spoke, the look Chloe gave me grew even stranger, but she didn't say much. If you don't want a divorce, then fine. Just let me know whenever you change your mind. Chloe got up to wash up in the bathroom, and I awkwardly lowered my head and continued eating. I heard her footsteps pause for a few seconds after she entered the bathroom, probably noticing how different and tidy it looked now, before the sound of running water started. By the time I finished eating, Chloe had come out of the bathroom. The scene wasn't as awkward as I'd imagined. Thanks. You should get some sleep too. I scratched my head, feeling like I was in a dream. I sorted through my thoughts once more, went to wash up, then returned to my room and opened my laptop. I applied for a personal seller account on an online marketplace before finally shutting it down and going to sleep. The next morning, I woke up at 6:30 out of habit. Using the ingredients I'd bought yesterday, I put some porridge on to cook, then went downstairs to buy steamed buns and fried dough sticks. When I got back, Chloe was just opening her bedroom door. She heard the door open and looked up. When she saw the breakfast in my hands, she rubbed her eyes, as if she thought she was seeing things. Good morning. I bought some breakfast and made porridge. You should go wash up. With that, I went to the kitchen to check on the porridge, ignoring Chloe's astonished gaze behind me. Since we had both been staying up late, I was worried about our health, so I had specifically made a red date and red bean porridge. The porridge was just about ready. I ladled out 2 bowls, arranged the buns and dough sticks on a plate, boiled some eggs, and prepared a small side dish. When Chloe came out of the bathroom, she was greeted by what could be considered a hearty breakfast on the dining table. The scene should have been very heartwarming, but Chloe didn't feel that way at all. She knew her husband too well. In the nearly 3 years they'd been married, I had never cooked or done any housework. The only thing I knew how to do was shop. The background check she ran before the wedding never mentioned I had any of these skills. Suspicion bloomed in Chloe's mind. Had I been pretending all this time? We had maids and housekeepers before, so I never had to do it. Now it's just the 2 of us, and we don't have much money, so we can't always eat out. My cooking isn't great, but it's edible. If you don't mind, you can come home for meals from now on. So when Grandpa asked if you knew how to cook, you were lying to him? Chloe said, then picked up her spoon and took a mouthful of porridge. I was taken aback for a second, then laughed it off. My skills are nothing compared to the chef's. I figured Grandpa was used to gourmet food, so I was too embarrassed to show off my humble cooking. The excuse was plausible enough. Chloe nodded. It's actually not bad. Watching her eat, still with such elegance, I suddenly understood that making a woman accustomed to the finest cuisine eat street stall food was indeed asking a lot of her. After breakfast, Chloe offered to help take the dishes to the kitchen, but I quickly stopped her. It's fine, I'll clean up. I can do the dishes. You go do what you need to do. The business affairs aren't fully settled yet. I'll probably be back late tonight. Don't worry about me. Just call if you need anything. Once Chloe left, I finally felt a sense of ease. I thought to myself that even in her downfall, the woman's innate aristocratic air was undeniable, and that subtle, oppressive aura of hers was always present. If I hadn't seen a thing or two in my past life, I might not have been able to handle it. I had a lot to do today as well. Not only did I need to buy more things for the apartment, but I also had to photograph all those watches and clothes to sell online. I figured if I sold everything, I could probably get over $1 million, which would give Chloe some startup capital for whatever she wanted to do next. Besides that, I needed to research the web novels in this world and consider picking up my old profession. In my original world, I was a web novelist. My major in college was interior design, but after graduating, I didn't want it as my main career, so I started writing instead, occasionally taking on freelance design jobs for extra cash. Life was pretty good. I washed the dishes, grabbed my shopping list, and headed out. I've never been one for leisurely shopping, so I bought what I needed, came back to put it all away, and then started photographing the watches and clothes. I worked straight through until the evening and was exhausted by the time I finished just the watches. I heated up the leftover buns from the morning, took a few bites, and then decisively retreated to my room to browse web novels. I couldn't handle any more physical activity for the day. It was time for mental labor. 2 hours later, I clapped my hands happily and downed the coffee on my desk in one gulp. I discovered that the web novels in this world were a bit behind my original worlds. The stories I had written before could be rewritten here in an even better way. It was a golden opportunity. Just then, I heard the front door open. I hesitated for a moment, then jumped out of bed and ran out in my slippers. I couldn't help it. This morning I'd found that the front door hadn't been deadbolted last night. Chloe was probably used to living in a mansion and forgot that apartments like this needed to be locked from the inside. Seeing me come out, she paused in the middle of hanging her coat. "You're back. I just realized this morning that the door wasn't deadbolt last night. You're used to having security at the mansion, but we don't have that now. You have to bolt this kind of door at night, or a burglar could pry it open easily. I see. We were practically strangers, so I had to take the initiative to make conversation. Have you eaten? I have. I bought some more daily necessities today. If you need anything, let me know, and I'll go get it later. I don't need anything for now. Conversation over. What else was there to say? I thought for 3 seconds and decided to beat a hasty retreat. Well, if there's nothing else, I'm going back to my room. Call me if you need anything. Only after I had closed my door did Chloe survey the apartment. She even took a stroll through the kitchen and bathroom. The place had a lot of new things, making it feel more lived in. Was this man really planning to stay here? It was like he was a completely different person. I, of course, had no idea what Chloe was doing. I was completely focused on cleaning up the computer. The original owner of this body had worked hard enough in high school to get into a good university, but he basically coasted through college, and his computer skills were a mess. This laptop was painfully slow. I needed to clean it out and see what he had been up to. As I was browsing, I came across the photo folder. It contained many subfolders, mostly filled with the original owner's selfies and a few pictures of his parents. The last folder had a garbled name. I clicked on it and, oh boy, it was full of photos with a woman. She looked like a socialite, very pretty, but not my type. Her smile, in particular, gave off a pure and delicate vibe. Seeing how intimate they looked in the photos made my soul tremble. I quickly checked the dates. Thankfully, they were all from before the marriage. That scared the hell out of me. I kept a few of the less intimate photos and quickly deleted the rest. Then it hit me. This woman was the original guy's college girlfriend from the novel, a wealthy heiress. But they had broken up so long ago, there was no reason to keep these. I was lucky Chloe wasn't the jealous type. If she had found these, it would have been a ticking time bomb. By the time I was mostly done with the computer, it was nearly 11 p.m. I yawned and flopped onto the bed to sleep. The next morning, I woke up even earlier than the day before. Instead of going out to buy breakfast, I decided to make fried rice myself along with a couple of side dishes. By the time Chloe got up, I had everything nearly ready, so she could eat right after washing up. Chloe looked at the hearty plate of fried rice in front of her, a little surprised. You know how to make fried rice? Yeah, I don't know how to make a ton of things, but I can handle simple home-cooked meals. It's not gourmet, but it's edible. I hope you don't mind. Chloe took a spoonful. Not bad. It's pretty good. Glad you like it. I'll be home for lunch today. I froze for a second, then quickly recovered. What would you like to eat? I'll have whatever you're making, but I'd like to have rice. Okay, how about sweet and sour ribs, stir-fried tomatoes and eggs, and an egg drop soup? Will that be enough for you? That should be fine. Then you can head out and not worry about a thing. After eating, Chloe grabbed her coat and left. As usual, I was the one to clear the table. Outside the complex, Chloe got into a car that was waiting by the entrance. The driver was her former assistant, Liam, a friend her grandfather had chosen to grow up alongside her. As soon as she settled in, he handed her a paper bag. Chloe, breakfast from Shelley's. No thanks, I've already eaten. Ethan made fried rice. Liam's hand froze mid-air, his eyes wide with surprise. What? Ethan knows how to cook. This is the first I'm hearing of it too. He made porridge yesterday, which I thought was a miracle in itself. When he said he could cook, I thought he was just bragging, but today he actually made fried rice. I told him I was coming home for lunch, and he even offered to make a few dishes. Hearing about my unusual behavior, Liam frowned. He's not plotting something, is he? I remember you two stayed out of each other's way, and he couldn't do anything. By the way, wasn't he talking about divorce? I already looked up the procedures. Why is it quiet now? Chloe looked up, a thoughtful smile playing on her lips. He said he doesn't want a divorce anymore. He said he's accepted our current life, that he'll live properly from now on, even earn money, and told me not to stress so much. Liam leaned back in his seat, his tone unreadable. Heh, so what? He couldn't bear to see you suffer and decided to stick with you through thick and thin? If that's the case, he's not such a bad guy after all. He did nothing in college, and for the past 2 years of marriage, all he's known is how to spend money. One day he's demanding a divorce, the next he's changed his mind. What do you think? They say adversity reveals a person's true character. Maybe his conscience got the better of him. You never know what someone is really like until they're tested. We've seen plenty of people turn their backs on us recently. Maybe Ethan is just one of those people whose true colors only show in a crisis. Perhaps. Let's go. It's not like he can affect anything anyway. We'll just wait and see. Meanwhile, I spent the whole morning busy photographing clothes. There was no way I could wear over 80 outfits myself. Keeping a dozen or so to make a good impression was enough. I'd sell the rest and could even buy some regular clothes with the money. After more than 2 hours, I was only halfway done. I glanced at the clock on the living room wall. It was already 10 a.m. Realizing I needed to go grocery shopping, I quickly put the clothes away, threw on a jacket, and headed out. Leaving the supermarket, I was walking back to the complex with 2 large bags in hand. Just as I crossed the street, I heard someone call my name. I turned my head and saw a beautiful, exquisitely dressed woman. A closer look revealed it was the woman from the photos last night. The moment she saw me turn, she ran over. "Ethan, how did you end up like this?" I looked down at my clothes, then at the bags in my hands, confused. "Is there a problem? What are you doing here?" The woman wore a look of deep affection. "Leave Chloe and come back to me. I can give you a better life now. It hurts me to see you suffering. Come back to me, and I promise I'll treat you well." If it weren't for my memories of this woman, I might have actually been moved by the love in her eyes. Vanessa Reed, the second daughter of the Reed Corporation, and the original owner's ex-girlfriend. When she was with the original guy, she enjoyed his devotion while simultaneously mocking him for being a gold digger. Despite being wealthy, she never spent a dime on him. During their relationship, he was the one always paying, at her beck and call, which fed her immense sense of superiority. It wasn't until Chloe approached him that she put on this act of deep love, trying to convince him to reject Chloe's offer. The original guy had been genuinely in love with her, scrimping and saving to spend money on her, but she only ever wanted to play with his feelings. Luckily, he was rational enough not to fall completely into her love trap. He had actually been on the verge of turning Chloe down, but by a twist of fate, he learned about another side of Chloe, which finally made him give up on Vanessa. It was because of this that he came to believe that money was the only reliable thing in life, which turned him into the spendthrift he became. You could say this woman was responsible for at least half of his tragic character arc. And now, this toxic woman showing up was definitely not out of love. I didn't know what she was plotting, but it couldn't be good. Before, Chloe was someone she could only admire from afar. Now that Chloe had fallen, if I were easily lured away, it would be another blow to Chloe's pride. Perhaps she had other plans for Chloe as well. So I shook my head and said, "I'm not going with you. You should go back to wherever you came from." "Why? Chloe is a has-been now. She'll only make you suffer." "What do you see in her? A married couple is supposed to share the good times and the bad. I'm her husband, so of course I have to stay by her side. No matter what happens to her, I can't just abandon her. This is just a temporary setback for her, but even if she were crippled, I'd still have to take care of her. It has nothing to do with hardship or money. As long as she doesn't divorce me, I can't leave her, especially now when she needs me the most." "What nonsense are you talking about? If I'm not mistaken, you two barely interacted, right? She just gave you money to shop. You have no feelings for her, so why would you suffer with her?" Vanessa looked at me as if I were an idiot. "Who says she wasn't good to me? When she had money, she gave me a generous allowance every month. She didn't have time for me, but I could spend as much as I wanted. Yes, that money might have been nothing to her, but no one's money grows on trees. Her giving it was a kindness. Not giving it would have been her right. Since she gave it, I should be grateful. Now that she's down on her luck, even if we were to divorce, she's still willing to let me live in the rented apartment and give me most of what's left. She's been more than fair to me. And you call that good? If that's not good, then what is? We never had any feelings for each other to begin with, so for her to act with such integrity is commendable. You say she's not good, but are you any better? How am I not good? If you were with me, I would definitely treat you well." Before Vanessa could continue, I cut her off. "In college, I had no money, and you always looked down on me, thinking I was just trying to leech off you. We knew each other for almost 2 years, and in all that time, you never spent a single cent on our relationship. Even the gifts you gave me were freebies you got with purchases. Meanwhile, I was working part-time jobs to earn money to spend on you, and then you just dumped me. You call that good? What are you talking about? What kind of person do you take me for? Did Chloe say something to you? Did you misunderstand me?" Vanessa's eyes darkened. "You think too highly of yourself. Someone like Chloe wouldn't even mention you to me. You're not even on her radar. You're the only one who's constantly staring at her, trying to get her attention. It's like the old saying, you see the world as you are. Just go away." I don't want to say anything harsher. Vanessa's expression grew even darker as she took a few steps closer. She put on a fragile look. "Ethan, Chloe must have brainwashed you. Why would you think that? I really do like you. That Chloe, is she just clinging to you now because she's broke? You can't be so naive. Stop. Don't come any closer. In short, abandoning your wife when she's down is something only a scumbag would do. I'm not leaving her at a time like this, so give up. If I ever leave her, it will be when she no longer needs me." Vanessa was about to say more when a round of applause and cheers erupted from nearby. "Well said. That young man is right. What a good man." "Yeah, if everyone thought like that these days, there wouldn't be so many divorces. That young man is a real catch. His wife is lucky to have him." It was only then that I noticed a group of seniors, clearly on their way home from their morning exercise, standing not far away. The seniors walked over. The man in the lead looked Vanessa up and down and shook his head. "Tsk, young lady. The man is happy with his wife. It's not right for you to come here and try to break them up. Just think, if you were married and some woman was always trying to steal your husband, how would you feel? Don't do to others what you don't want done to you." "Exactly. You say he should divorce his wife and go with you just because she's broke. Can you guarantee you'll never fall on hard times yourself? It was as if a switch had been flipped. The group of seniors began to criticize Vanessa one by one, not even giving her a chance to retort. In an instant, she was branded an irredeemable, morally corrupt homewrecker. I quickly made way for the seniors, hiding behind the crowd and trying to stifle my laughter. This woman needed a lesson, and they were just the people to teach her. I have to get home and cook, so I'll be going now. We can chat again some other time. Don't worry, you go on ahead. We'll handle this. Not far away, Chloe and Liam sat in the car, having witnessed the entire scene, and didn't move for a long time. Only when Vanessa meekly admitted her fault and was finally let go by the seniors did Liam speak, his voice filled with disbelief. Chloe, that was Ethan just now, right? I feel like he's a completely different person. It was him. Then Ethan's a really good guy. I only knew him as a spendthrift before, but now that you're bankrupt, he refuses to leave you, choosing to suffer by your side. And it's not even out of love, but out of a sense of duty. Just like those seniors said, his moral compass is pointing straight north. At this moment, Chloe also felt that her perception of me might have been skewed. After parting with Liam, Chloe went straight home. As soon as she opened the door, she saw me curled up on the rug in front of the living room sofa, laptop in my lap, fingers flying across the keyboard. The apartment was filled with the aroma of cooked meat. You're back. Chloe placed the fruit she'd bought next to the coffee table and walked over curiously. She looked closely and saw that I was actually writing a story. I figured I've forgotten most of my major, but I still remember some of the basics. Plus, I've always read novels, so I know a bit about the field. I thought I'd try writing a web novel. You don't mind, do you? I asked, my hands never stopping. Chloe thought it suited my situation. It wasn't like she was counting on me to make money anyway. She gave a non-committal reply, as long as you're happy. I knew this high and mighty woman probably looked down on this sort of thing and didn't understand it, so I changed the subject. The ribs are already simmering. It'll probably be another hour before we can eat. You go ahead and do your thing. Chloe nodded, went to wash up and change, then disappeared into her room and didn't come out again. An hour later, I knocked on her door to call her for dinner. On the table were 2 bowls of rice and a colorful spread of dishes, vibrant with reds and greens. I had even added some garnishes, making it clear the meal was carefully prepared. This is my first time making sweet and sour ribs, so I'm not sure how they turned out. Give them a try. If they're no good, I can whip up a smashed cucumber salad. Ever since my parents passed away in college, I've been living on my own. Influenced by them, my standards for quality of life weren't excessively high, but they certainly weren't low either. I cleaned the house regularly, cooked for myself whenever I had time, and lived a very disciplined life, so my life skills were solid. Saying that was just me being polite. I wouldn't claim to be a master chef, but my home cooking skills were decent. I used to be the designated cook at gatherings with friends and always received plenty of compliments. Chloe picked up a piece with her chopsticks and tasted it, then nodded. Not bad. It's pretty good. That's good. Then eat up. The past few days have been chaotic for you. You haven't been eating or resting well. It must have been tough. I poured a glass of lemon tea I had prepared and pushed it towards her. It's lemon tea with a little bit of honey. Good for vitamin C. Drink as much as you can, and don't mind if it's a bit sour. Chloe's face held a questioning look. She felt as if the man before her was a completely different person, someone who didn't match the information from her background check or the man she'd lived with for the past 2 years. But then again, she had never paid him much attention, so she couldn't be sure her information was complete. She could only suppress her doubts for now. You've worked hard. Not at all. I'm at home all day, sheltered from the elements. You're the one out there dealing with so much. That must be exhausting. You should eat more, I said with a smile. Just thinking about it, I knew that the old Chloe was completely out of most people's league. When old Mr. Sterling was alive, who would have dared to cross the Sterling family? And Chloe had been the most outstanding one since childhood, the benchmark against which countless others were compared and found wanting by their own parents. Now that Mr. Sterling was gone, the other, more distant branches of the family were only thinking about how to carve up what was left. They were eager to see Chloe fall, offering no help, and were more than happy to kick her while she was down, relishing the sight of the person they once had to look up to being trampled under their feet. Before I transmigrated, when I read the novel, I never understood why Chloe insisted on not letting her best friends help her. If she had just accepted their help, she wouldn't have fallen so far. Unfortunately, our relationship wasn't great right now, so I didn't feel comfortable asking. I figured that as a former heiress, she must have had her reasons. I don't know how Chloe enjoyed the meal, but I was completely satisfied. I guess she probably didn't hate my cooking, because she had 2 bowls of rice. I'll put the dishes in the kitchen for now. Don't worry about them. I'll wash them after my nap. I dropped the dishes into the kitchen sink, washed some fruit, and brought it out to the coffee table before settling back down to type. Rewriting something I had already written before was naturally very fast. Plus, my typing speed was already well practiced. In just that morning, I had already finished a 2,000-word outline. At this rate, I estimated I could finish 20,000 words by tomorrow and submit it. Chloe and I were in a special situation right now and desperately needed money. I didn't understand business, so the only thing I could do was earn more money to ease her pressure. Chloe went back to her room again, and I had no idea what she was doing behind the closed door. Around 1:30, I forced myself to shut down the computer and go take a nap. The living room instantly fell silent. In her bedroom, Chloe hesitated for a moment, then replied to Liam on her phone, "Forget it. I'll see how he acts from now on. You don't need to investigate for now. Maybe I'm overthinking it. Let's just wait." Less than an hour later, my alarm went off. I crawled out of bed, my head feeling a bit dizzy. I stumbled to the bathroom and found the door was closed. Mentally cursing myself, I grabbed the handle and yanked the door open. As I was about to step inside, I looked up and came face to face with the person inside. "Sorry, I was half asleep. I thought I was the only one home," I yelled. Then, blushing, I ran back to my room and shut the door, wanting to kick myself. It was so embarrassing. Took me a while to compose myself. When I finally opened my door and stepped out, Chloe was just coming out of the bathroom. We made eye contact again, though we were a good 15 feet apart. "It's fine. Don't be so embarrassed. This apartment is small. We'll be seeing each other all the time, so you'll get used to it." Right, I'll get used to it. Are you not going out today?" "I've already finished what I needed to do for the day, so I'm not going out this afternoon." After saying that, Chloe suddenly added, "I won't be home for the next few days. Is there anything you need my help with?" I felt a little uneasy. What's wrong? Is something up? Even though I grew up in the Sterling household, I'm not completely clueless about basic life skills. Now that we're living together in this small home, you can tell me directly if you need help with anything. I'm not just someone who only knows how to make money.
Okay, you understand.
Looking at Chloe's serious expression, I actually found it kind of cute. Whether she was succeeding or failing in business, her looks were truly impeccable. As the most beautiful woman penned by the author, she was stunning even with a blank expression. I thought it was pretty impressive that I could face a woman like this and not be swayed. After she finished speaking, Chloe gave me a meaningful look before returning to her room. Just then, I realized something, stood up, and ran to her door. "What do you want for dinner tonight?" "Anything. I'm not picky." Alright, the heiress was easier to feed than I thought. I ambled back and continued typing by the coffee table. Just as I finished a chapter, I remembered the items I had listed on the resale site and quickly went to check. Wow, I had already sold 12 watches and 2 outfits. I didn't really know the value of these luxury goods, so when I listed them, I first checked their prices online and then listed them at an 80% discount. Many of the items were still in their original packaging, but I was afraid Chloe might need the money urgently, so I didn't dare to price them too high. I had been worried that no one would buy such expensive things, but they were selling surprisingly fast. I jotted down all the shipping addresses, saved the file, and then ran into my room to find the watches and clothes. Since there were quite a few items to ship, I planned to schedule a pickup. Half an hour later, everything was packed, and the courier arrived for the pickup. Chloe must have heard the commotion, because she opened her door and came out. "What are you doing?" There were too many clothes and watches from before. I don't go out much now, and they were taking up too much space, so I decided to sell some of them. These are the ones that sold today. I need to ship them to the buyers soon. "You don't have to. We're not so desperate that you need to sell your things. Actually, it's mainly because they take up space, and they're not the latest models anymore. I wouldn't use them even if I kept them, so it's better to sell them for cash. That way, if I see a new product I like in the future, I can buy it. That should be enough to save the heiress's pride, right?" I thought I was being quite considerate, but I don't know which of my words struck a chord with her. Chloe's hand, which was holding mine, trembled slightly before she let go. She didn't stop me again, simply saying, "All right, we'll buy new ones in the future." Buy new ones? As if a single watch costs tens of thousands of dollars, enough to cover my living expenses for half a year. Buying a few of those and I'd be eating dirt. I complained internally but showed none of it on my face. An heiress has her pride after all. I put on a smile. "I'll wait for you to buy me new watches then." Chloe was momentarily taken aback by the smile on my face, a face that was familiar yet had felt so strange lately. She glanced down at the packed boxes on the floor, bent over, picked them up, and helped me put them into the courier's bag. Not until the courier had left with the packages did Chloe ask me, "How much are you planning to sell?" There were originally over 100 watches and more than 80 outfits. Over 70 of the watches were never even opened. I planned to sell all of those. Of the remaining 50, I'll sell about 40 or so. Keeping 10 watches should be enough for me. As for the clothes, I'll keep around 30 outfits and sell the rest. I thought Chloe was going to stop me, but to my surprise, she just nodded and said nothing more. She picked up an apple and started peeling it on the sofa. I couldn't figure out what she was thinking and wondered if my actions had hurt her pride. But survival was more important than all these complicated feelings. Even if she minded, there was nothing I could do. I had checked this morning. The housing prices in this novel's world had only risen by half of their eventual peak. I didn't know what Chloe's plans were or if she would really make a comeback, But no matter what, I had to find a way to buy an apartment first. After selling the watches and clothes, I'd have enough for a down payment. I could give the rest of the money to Chloe and slowly pay off the mortgage myself. That way, even if the heiress couldn't make a comeback, we wouldn't be left homeless. My mind was racing with these thoughts as I stared blankly at the computer screen by the coffee table. Suddenly, a peeled apple appeared before my eyes, its sweet scent wafting towards me. The peel was cut so evenly and beautifully. I swallowed involuntarily and realized Chloe was holding it out to me. For me, Chloe pushed the apple a little closer. You've been through a lot. I was truly flattered. The Chloe from the original novel never got close to men and had no patience for them. Now, she was actually peeling an apple for me, and so perfectly at that. It was astonishing. I quickly took the apple and said, "It's nothing. I bought them with your money anyway. I'm already grateful that you never complained about my spending habits before." Chloe actually smiled. She usually had such a cool expression, not icy, but unapproachable. That sudden smile left me completely stunned. How could a woman this beautiful exist in the world? "Don't worry. I'll definitely buy you more watches in the future." I nodded instinctively, then felt a little shy when I came to my senses. "I believe you'll make a comeback. Don't rush it. I'll be waiting for you to buy me those watches. You can do it." With that faint smile still on her lips, Chloe got up and went back to her room. Out of my sight, a flicker of amusement crossed her eyes. I spent the rest of the afternoon writing and managed to churn out over 10,000 words. We had a simple dinner and went back to our own activities. I stayed up until midnight and successfully finished 20,000 words. The next morning, after breakfast, Chloe left, and I started working on submitting my manuscript. I checked the resale site and saw that another 8 watches and 1 outfit had sold. It felt like large sums of money were flying into my wallet, and I was in a great mood. Just as I finished organizing and submitting my manuscript, I heard a knock on the door. "Who is it?" I got up to answer, hearing a man's voice from outside. "It's me, Julian Vance." Julian Vance? Who was that? I tried to recall as I walked to the door, but the name didn't ring a bell. I opened the door to find a single man standing outside, with a kind of roguish charm. The moment he saw me, he gave me a thorough, appraising look from head to toe that made me very uncomfortable. "Aren't you going to invite me in?" Julian said, already trying to step inside. I still had no idea who this guy was, so I quickly blocked his way. "Who are you looking for?" "If you're Ethan, then I'm looking for you." He sidestepped me and squeezed into the apartment. "Chloe isn't here right now, is she?" Since he was already inside, I couldn't very well kick him out. I closed the door and poured him a cup of tea. "She's not here. She left early this morning." "What do you want with me?" "Of course, I have something. To be honest, you're not bad looking, but you have no family background and no abilities. It was a real shame for Chloe to marry you. I know it was only because old Mr. Sterling wanted to repay a debt of gratitude, but you've been married to her for years and haven't helped her career at all. All you do is shop and fool around. Don't you feel ashamed? May I ask who you are to Chloe?" "Chloe and I grew up together. We're childhood sweethearts. She's always been wonderful to me. If it weren't for you, we might have been together long ago. But I've never heard of you." "Of course you haven't. Do you really think Chloe would mention her childhood sweetheart to you?" It was true that Chloe probably wouldn't have mentioned him to the original guy. First, they weren't close, and second, she wasn't one to stir up trouble. I nodded. "So, what's your purpose in coming to see me?" "Chloe needs help right now. How can you have the nerve to keep dragging her down? My father has already agreed to help her make a comeback, on the condition that we get married. So, you should divorce her." If Chloe wanted a divorce, she could have told me herself. Why would she need you to relay the message? I'm not the type to cling. Or is this just your own idea? Chloe would never do something so classless. Of course, she'd be too embarrassed to say it. You need to be the one to initiate it. You've spent so much of her money and haven't helped her at all over the years, yet she's never given you a hard time. Now that she's in trouble, if you can't help her, shouldn't you at least not be a burden? If you suggest the divorce, she can just go along with it, and everyone saves face. Is this what Chloe wants? This is what I want. Why don't you get it? Chloe isn't the type to do something like this. We need to be proactive and help her. First, you divorce her, then I can marry her, and then we can accept my father's help. If this were Chloe's wish, I would have no problem filing for divorce. But since you say it's your idea, I have to ask, before Chloe and I got married, were you two a couple? Was she in love with you? Julian froze with the cup halfway to his lips. That's not important. She's not good at expressing her feelings. Besides, she doesn't love you. I can help her while you can only drag her down. I'm 100 times more suitable for her than you are. You're wrong. Maybe I don't know Chloe all that well, but I'm certain she would never easily accept your father's help, especially if it came with the condition of marrying you. You think convincing your father to help her is for her own good, but you haven't considered what would happen if she made a comeback by relying on him. How would she face the world? She would forever be known as the woman who clawed her way back up through a strategic marriage. I didn't know Chloe very well, but I believed the villain described in the original novel was not someone who would rely on others to get by. In fact, her unwillingness to compromise was the reason she faced so many hardships. How could a person like that accept using her own marriage as a bargaining chip for a comeback? At least not anytime soon. Actually, I don't mind divorcing Chloe, but definitely not because someone else is pushing me to. I made my stance clear. Whatever Chloe wants to do is her business. I will absolutely respect her choice. Julian reacted as if I'd stepped on his tail, exploding with anger. You just want to drag her down and not divorce her. How can you be so selfish? Chloe has been more than fair to you. Now that she finally has a chance to make a comeback, you're going to ruin it with your own hands. You're disgusting, Mr. Vance. I've been polite enough with you. You barge in here today saying all sorts of inappropriate things. Anyone who didn't know better would think you're desperate to be a homewrecker. Since when is it an outsider's place to meddle in my marriage with Chloe? Even if you have good intentions, you shouldn't have come to me with this. If you want to help her, go talk to her. I can't make her decisions for her. And I'm not going to cling to her if she wants a divorce. Think about it for a second. If she really liked you, why weren't you married before her grandfather approached me? If you say your feelings weren't there yet, then why weren't you even a couple? You keep saying she's not the type to be ungrateful, but your actions right now are making her out to be exactly that, and you haven't even considered the practical consequences for her. What right do you have to say that? You're just a pretty boy who knows nothing but how to spend money. What gives you the right to judge me? The right comes from the fact that I am still legally her husband, and as long as I am her husband, I have the right to call out anyone who tries to interfere in our marriage. I used to only know how to shop and didn't help her with anything, but she allowed it back then. She didn't mind, so why are you so worked up? If you want to marry her, go talk to her. As soon as you two reach an agreement, I'll divorce her without a second thought. But if you're trying to convince me, I won't agree. You, shameless. Julian slammed his cup on the table in anger. I wasn't angry anymore. I calmly toyed with my own cup. You're the one trying to break up a marriage and you don't feel ashamed. Where do you get the nerve to call me shameless? Since you think I'm so shameless, I guess we have nothing more to talk about. So in the end, you just refuse to get a divorce. You can think of it that way if you want. Getting his answer and realizing he wouldn't achieve his goal today, Julian stood up and stormed out. Before he left, he turned back to shout, "Just you wait. Chloe will dump you sooner or later." The door closed again, and I let out a soft sigh. It's one thing for the protagonist to be popular, but for the villain to be this sought after too. If it weren't for my conscience, I'd actually be tempted to get a divorce. But it was just a thought. I couldn't bring myself to take over someone's body and act entitled. Even though I wasn't the one who spent all that money on paper, it was all under my name now, wasn't it? Pushing the matter to the back of my mind, I opened my browser, recorded the addresses and item details, then went to my room to find the watches that had sold. After organizing them, I called the courier. Today's sales needed to be shipped out early. I did a quick calculation. The items I'd sold so far were worth nearly $2 million. Once the buyers received their goods, a large sum would be deposited into my bank account. If I sold a few more things, I could buy a small apartment, make a down payment, and become a homeowner. The thought filled me with motivation. I didn't feel like writing for the moment, so I opened a browser and started searching for real estate listings in the city. I had to choose an apartment very carefully. After a while, it was almost noon. I didn't even bother to close the browser tabs before rushing to cook. The great heiress had told me this morning that she would be back for lunch. It was my fault for getting too lost in daydreams about my wonderful future that I lost track of time. I planned to make wontons for lunch. The filling was prepared this morning, and I had bought the wrappers yesterday, so my movements were quite skilled, almost rhythmic. I could fold one every few seconds, and in no time I had made over 20. As I was folding, the great heiress returned. I was so focused that I didn't even look up. "You're back." "Yes. What are you making?" Chloe stood at the doorway, able to see my quick movements but not what I was actually doing, so she asked instinctively. "Making wontons. We're having wontons for lunch. I'll pan-fry some flatbreads too, so we don't have to worry about not having enough to eat," I said very naturally. Making flatbreads and folding wontons were skills beyond that of a typical home cook. Chloe's suspicion resurfaced, but the next moment, seeing me sitting there quietly, skillfully folding wontons, she felt there was nothing to fuss about. "Come to think of it, I haven't had these in a long time," Chloe blurted out. Then, feeling it was an odd thing to say, she closed her mouth and walked into the bathroom to wash her hands as if to cover something up. I didn't pick up on her strangeness at all. I liked wontons myself, and I figured with all the business troubles Chloe had been dealing with, she wouldn't have had the mind to think about what to eat. Plus, wontons are just a snack. It's normal not to have them for a long time. "Do you want to eat more then? If you do, I'll cook a bigger batch. I can freeze the rest so we can just boil them on a day we don't feel like cooking." "Then cook a little more," Chloe said as she came out from washing her hands. She hadn't eaten street food like this in a long time, maybe 3 or 4 years. If I hadn't mentioned it, she wouldn't have even realized how long it had been since she'd last relaxed. "Okay, I'll make some more then," I said, my hand still busy. In my eyes, life was full of hope and small joys. A good life is what you make of it. Just being able to live again was a stroke of luck. Every gift life offers should be cherished. Being able to sit here, making and eating wontons, was happiness itself. Nearly an hour later, 2 steaming bowls of wonton soup were on the table. I called Chloe out. I was already seated and gestured with my head for her to sit down quickly. A smile of anticipation was on my face. Go on, try them. I think my wontons turned out pretty well. I wasn't sure about your appetite, and wontons alone aren't very filling, so I made some wraps. By the way, do you know how to eat wraps? Hearing me, she found it a bit amusing but didn't show it. Of course I do. I'm a normal person. She sat down, tried one, and after a moment, gave her verdict. The flavor is not bad. See? I told you my wontons were good. It's mainly because I love them myself. Since they're not bad, you should eat more. We ate at different paces. Although Chloe ate only about half as much as I did, we finished at almost the same time. This time, as I was about to do the dishes, she suddenly spoke up. I'll buy a dishwasher later. It's just a few dishes. It's not much trouble. No need to spend the money. It's not that expensive. It's fine, Chloe said casually. A conflicted expression instantly appeared on my face. What was wrong? Had the heiress not yet adjusted her mindset? Did she not realize we weren't rich anymore? I debated whether to remind her bluntly, but seeing the slight frown on her face, the words that came out were different from what I intended. All right, then I'll go buy one later. You don't have to worry about it. I'm very picky, so it might take me a long time to choose. I sighed internally after I said it. Good-looking people really have it easy. I couldn't even bring myself to say anything that might hurt the heiress's pride. Anyway, since I'd already claimed to be picky, it would be normal if I took a long time and still couldn't find one I liked. Seeing my conflicted expression, Chloe suddenly understood what her husband was struggling with, and a strange feeling washed over her. Although her grandfather had forced her to experience hardship in her early years, after completing her training at 15, she had never known what it was like to be without money again. This time, it wasn't that she was broke, but that her husband thought she was. Yet even so, he hadn't said anything about being broke to her face. It was a strange feeling, one she couldn't quite put her finger on. I have work to do. I'm going back to my room. With that, Chloe turned and left, leaving me to do the dishes alone. I hummed a tune as I washed, feeling that life was pretty good. I had a place to live, food to eat, the watches and clothes were selling well, and soon I'd have my own apartment. Life was bound to get better and better. The heiress was more than capable. Her comeback was just a matter of time. Maybe she'd even share some of the profits with me then. Even if she couldn't get back on her feet, it didn't matter. I could support us. For now, having her around, as a sort of friend, meant I didn't have to worry about facing an emergency alone. She wouldn't be idle forever. If we ended up living a simple life and she wanted a divorce, I'd grant it. Then I could slowly find someone suitable. Living our separate, peaceful lives would be fine too. After washing the dishes, I wrote for a bit more before getting ready for a nap. Just then, Chloe suddenly opened her door and came out. Did Julian Vance give you a hard time today? Not really a hard time. He told me to initiate a divorce with you, and I refused. I assumed there was nothing between you two, but if you like him, we can get a divorce anytime. He also said his father could help you, as long as you two get married. There's nothing between us, and I won't divorce you because of him. You did the right thing. As for everything else, we'll talk about it later. I don't need anyone's help for now, and these aren't problems his father can solve anyway. I understand. That made sense to me. I got up, ready to go back to my room for a nap. Chloe suddenly spoke, looking at me inquisitively. Is there anything else? Since when did you start taking naps? My body stiffened. I explained, a little guiltily. I just suddenly realized my old sleep schedule was terrible and my health was suffering, so I'm forcing myself to adjust. You could try taking a nap in the afternoon too. You'll have more energy and be more productive. Then get some rest. Chloe stood up and went back to her room, leaving me standing there anxiously, wondering if I had said something wrong. After a major life event like the family going bankrupt, it's only natural for a person to change, right? Back in her room, Chloe sat down at her desk with a blank expression, lost in thought. After a while, still seemingly undecided, she picked up her phone and made a call. Buy a dishwasher and have it sent to my place in the next few days. There are still some things I need to observe. Until then, let's just continue as we are. After the call, Chloe put her phone on the desk. Her eyes fell on the bed, and my words from earlier came back to her. Was napping really that great? Before she knew it, she had lain down on the bed. Her body relaxed, and it actually felt quite nice. She had been busy with all sorts of things for the past few years, and hadn't had a peaceful night's sleep in a long time. Before she knew it, it was already 2:30 in the afternoon. I came out of my room, stretched luxuriously, and went to the bathroom to wash my face. Just as I stepped out, I saw Chloe coming out of her room, her eyes still a bit hazy with sleep. My God, is this what the heiress looks like when she just wakes up? She's too beautiful. To think someone like this was a villain. The author must have put a lot of effort into creating this character. only to give her such a tragic ending. What a waste. As I was thinking this, I wasn't paying attention to my own expression and inadvertently showed a hint of pity, which Chloe saw. The look of pity seemed to sting her, and she immediately averted her gaze. Do you need the bathroom? No, I'm done. Go ahead. I quickly stepped aside to let Chloe pass. Then I shrugged, sat back down at the computer, and got ready to write. As soon as I opened Instagram, I saw a friend request with a note saying it was from an editor at a literary website. Hearing the noise outside, Chloe came out after washing her hands. What's wrong? My novel passed the first review. Once it passes the second and final reviews, it'll start making money. Really? Congratulations. Thanks, you two. After that, I paid no more attention to Chloe, immersing myself in my novel and continuing to type away. Seeing me busy at the computer, Chloe went back into the bathroom. In the afternoon, I contacted a courier for a pickup, and a young woman came to the door. Mr. Evans, did you open an online store? These watches look really nice. If it's possible, could you sell one to me at a discount? I want to get it as a gift for my boyfriend. I was taken aback and quickly waved my hands. Sorry, I don't have an online store. I'm just helping a friend ship these. Her watches aren't cheap. I think they're all in the tens of thousands. I can't make a decision on that kind of money, but if you're interested, I can ask for you. Tens of thousands? Oh my God, these must be luxury watches then, right? I don't really know. Maybe. They're all pretty expensive, anyway. As I was speaking, the elevator door next to us suddenly opened, and Chloe stepped out. She had heard everything I said. What's going on? Nothing. The courier was interested in buying a watch, but they're not mine, so I thought I could ask my friend if she could give a discount. No, since they're luxury watches, never mind. I'm just an ordinary person. I couldn't wear such an expensive watch anyway. Are these all the packages? If so, I'll just get them ready to go, and they'll be shipped out soon. Yes, that's all of them. Thanks for your trouble. The courier picked up the packages and left in the elevator. It was only then that I realized I had been blocking the doorway, and I quickly let Chloe in. You're back so soon? Not much to take care of today. Why did you say the watches belonged to someone else? It didn't feel right to say they were mine. We live here and the security isn't great. If someone found out, it could be dangerous. Besides, that courier has been here a few times now, so we're familiar. I'll need her help with shipping in the future. If I said they were mine and then didn't give a big discount, what if she got resentful and messed with my packages? I could go through the official channels to resolve it, but it's a hassle. At the end of the day, you can't judge a book by its cover, and we're not close. It's just not worth the risk. That's very thoughtful. By the way, there's a gala in a few days that we need to attend together. You should start preparing. A gala? I've hardly ever been to one. Won't I just cause trouble for you at a time like this? It's fine. At this point, no one can cause me any more trouble. And even if they could, I wouldn't care about a little more. Chloe calmly picked up a glass from the table and poured herself some water. Her words left a bitter taste in my mouth. All right, I'll prepare well. For the next 2 days, Chloe continued her routine of leaving early and coming back late, though she was always home for breakfast and dinner. I got into the habit of preparing meals for 2 in the morning and evening, while spending my days diligently writing, selling things, and constantly looking up information on how to conduct myself at a gala. One day, when Chloe came in, she found me not curled up on the sofa as usual. Instead, the moment I heard the door open, I looked at her with a burning, slightly strange expression. She looked at the clothes on the sofa and asked, "What's wrong? Did you buy all these clothes? My lady, please help me. I haven't been to a gala in ages, and I have no idea what style of clothing is appropriate now. These are the suits I picked out that seem suitable. Could you see which one is better? Didn't you used to love picking out your own clothes?" Back then, the sudden change in circumstances made me a bit sensitive, so I insisted on choosing my own clothes to protect my pride. But I've thought it through now. A person is who they are. There's no point in being so sensitive and having people look down on you for it. It's better to just admit when you don't know something. It seems you've thought it through quite clearly. So, could you please take a look and see which suit is more suitable? I can't decide. Chloe looked them over and casually pointed to the most classic black suit. This one. It's not flashy, very appropriate. Okay, this one it is. Once the suit was decided, I put the other clothes away. When it was time to leave for the party, Chloe drove me there herself. I deliberately sat in the back seat. Chloe glanced at me in the rearview mirror. You're not wearing much. Won't you be cold? I'm okay. It's a long-sleeved shirt, so it's not too bad. Why do I get the feeling your attitude towards me is a bit strange? How so? We have no reason to be at odds, and you've been so good to me. I can't thank you enough. It's mainly that we didn't interact much before, and now we see each other all the time. I'm just not used to it yet. It'll get better. Chloe watched in the rearview mirror as I scratched the back of my head. My forced smile vanished, leaving me looking a bit lost. Suddenly, she lost the desire to talk. Neither of us said anything more, and we soon arrived at the largest hotel in the city. Chloe and I had just reached the entrance when our path was deliberately, yet casually, blocked. The man in front of us was slightly overweight with greasy hair, an extravagantly dressed woman on his arm. His face wore a blatant expression of ill will. The land on the east side, I hear the Vanguard group is watching it closely. Shouldn't you be paying attention to that, Mr. Lawson? Mr. Lawson froze, his expression twisting before he forced a smile. Ms. Sterling, you're as radiant as ever. It's been a while. A pleasure to see you. Chloe ignored him and led me around him into the venue. I followed her into the gala and saw several of the Fairweather friends from my memories. They were all the live-in husbands or sons of various heiresses, none of them held in high regard. Some of them, holding their glasses, looked like they wanted to approach me, but after seeing Chloe by my side, they all meekly retreated. A few even shot me a look. You're not going over? Why would I? Am I looking for trouble? No thanks. We were never really close anyway, just surface-level acquaintances. Things are different now. It's better not to be friends. We had only taken a few steps when two more young men, each with a woman on his arm, approached us. The one walking faster was slightly older, around 30, with a fake smile plastered on his face. Well, if it isn't Miss Sterling, long time no see. And this gentleman is, look at my memory, I must be getting old. This is Ms. Sterling's husband, right? It's rare to see you two out together. What's the matter? Life not treating you well? Short on cash lately? I always heard you two didn't get along, but seeing you now, it seems those were just rumors. It has been a while, Mr. Thorne. I was starting to think you were too ill to get out of bed, but it seems you've managed. Some smart people, when they fall down in one spot, know to avoid it the next time. Others, not so smart, seem determined to fall in the same place until it kills them. Wouldn't you agree, Mr. Thorne? Indeed, but some pitfalls of the past are now treasures lying on the ground. When you see a treasure, everyone wants to pick it up. I'm sure Ms. Sterling understands what I mean. By the way, I heard you've run into some business trouble lately. Since we're acquaintances, let me offer a friendly reminder. Sometimes, wealth isn't just about money. It can also be about people. I instinctively clenched my fists and stepped in front of Chloe. Just then, a woman's voice came from the side. Chloe, what are you doing here? The two men's faces changed, and they both took a step back. Just looking around. What are you two doing standing here? Since when is my sister someone you can just approach and talk to? Have the Thorne and Stone families lost all their manners? Why are you still standing here? Are you waiting for a personal invitation from me? Do you think I'm as good-tempered as my sister? The two men nodded and immediately turned to leave. Their companions, curious, tried to look back but were harshly reprimanded by them. Chloe, really? If you were coming, why did you have to bring him? And even if you brought him, you could have at least told me. Those two idiots just now actually dared to come and show off in front of you. You're way too patient. It's fine, they're just a couple of clowns. But you, I never see you at these kinds of events. What brings you here this time? I was worried you might show up and run into some idiots. I had to get my agent to cancel an event for this. Good thing I came, though. Otherwise, who knows what those two losers would have said. Scarlett turned her head to look at me, her gaze appraising me from head to toe. With my sister's current situation, you've got no chance of getting any more money out of her. So you can drop the act. Just leave when you're ready. I gave an awkward laugh and said nothing. Don't talk nonsense. We're not divorced yet. Let's go sit over there. Fine, I'll go with you. With Scarlett sitting beside us, no one else dared to approach. Anyone with any status knew that Scarlett was not someone to be trifled with. I had expected to face many awkward situations tonight, but after sitting for only a short while, Chloe was ready to leave with me. Scarlett tried to get Chloe to join her for something, but Chloe refused, and we left together. In the car, I watched Chloe drive, hesitating for a full 3 minutes before mustering the courage to speak. Did you achieve your goal for attending the gala tonight? I suppose so. You know how I sold all those watches and clothes? I've managed to save up a small sum. I was thinking, since all the assets are settled and we're not in debt, why don't we buy a small apartment? We can make a down payment and I can use my writing income to pay the mortgage. We'll keep 6 months of living expenses for emergencies, and you can use the rest for your business or whatever you need. Chloe paused, looking at me through the rearview mirror. There's no rush. How can there be no rush? Housing prices are changing every day. If we don't buy now, we'll lose out the longer we wait. Renting isn't a long-term solution. If you're worried or uncomfortable, we can put the apartment in your name. With a place of our own, at least we'll know we won't be homeless in the future. All right, I'll consider it. After we got home that night, I went back to my room to continue writing, while Chloe received a phone call. Chloe, I found the information you asked me to look into. I've sent an encrypted file to your email. I haven't told anyone about this. Take a look. Chloe's laptop screen was open to her email. She let out a soft sigh, her index finger tapping a rhythmic pattern on the desk, her brow slightly furrowed. After a long moment, she picked up her phone and made a call. Hello, is this Master Williams? I wanted to ask, is it possible for a person, without having multiple personality disorder or schizophrenia, to suddenly seem like a completely different person, to the point where even their habits and values seem to have changed overnight? A few minutes later, She hung up. Chloe relaxed, leaning back in her chair. A smile suddenly touched her expressionless face. A new soul in an old body. The next morning, Chloe was slowly finishing a scallion roll when she suddenly looked up, a spark of interest in her eyes. What kind of stories do you usually write? I paused, holding my own bun. My writing? I write all sorts of genres. I don't really limit myself. I like to write a bit of everything, but my favorites are transmigration novels. I love transmigration and stories with wild concepts. Does transmigration really exist? I think so. I believe it's real. No one can say for sure what the world truly is. Sometimes we think we're living in a real world, but maybe it's just a world created by someone's pen. Who knows what the world is really like? If we can't even be sure of that, how can we say for certain that transmigration doesn't exist? A world created by a pen? Of course. In someone else's story, we might just be nameless background characters, or even the main character. Then, if you were to transmigrate, what do you think your past life would have been like? Probably a pretty happy person, loving parents, an only child, free to do whatever I wanted. My parents might have passed away suddenly, but I would have studied what I loved, never lacked for food, drink, or money, and lived a decent life. As for how I'd transmigrate, it would probably be by getting stabbed by a mugger while saving someone. A really unlucky way to go. That does sound like a very unlucky way to die. That's why you should always think before you act. Even with good intentions, you have to know your limits. Yeah, that's really important. We didn't bring up the topic again after that. After breakfast, Chloe left, and I stayed home to write. She wasn't coming back for lunch, so I happily ordered takeout. After eating, I quickly cleaned up and took out the trash. In the afternoon, as usual, I shipped out the items that had sold and then went out to buy groceries. Walking through the supermarket, I suddenly realized that my life now wasn't all that different from my previous one. Just as I was thinking this, an older woman next to me spoke up. Hey, aren't you the young man who was being harassed by that awful woman the other day? Out grocery shopping. Oh, it's you. Yes, I'm just picking up a few things to cook for dinner. That's wonderful. Not many young men know how to cook these days. Your wife is so lucky to have you. Not at all. She's busy with work all day, so I've just been doing more of the housework lately. I'm the lucky one to have met her. You know, as long as a person is grateful, life will treat them well. It's rare for a young man like you to have such a mindset. If your wife is as grateful as you are, your future together will surely be bright. I smiled, picked out a good head of cauliflower, and was about to check the tomatoes when Chloe appeared beside me out of nowhere. What are you doing here? I got back early, so I came to pick up a few things and happened to see you. It's okay. I only have 4 kinds of vegetables. It's not heavy. It's fine. You go get what you need. I saw some nice tomatoes over there and thought about making sweet and sour ribs, since Chloe seemed to enjoy sour flavors. I bought a variety of ingredients, some essential snacks, and some paper towels, then we went to check out together. Well, hello again, young man. This must be your wife, right? She's absolutely beautiful. Yes, this is my wife. I've never seen such a pretty young woman. She's more beautiful than a movie star. No wonder you wouldn't divorce her. That other one who was bothering you, she's nothing compared to your wife. Not only are her looks inferior, but her whole demeanor is lacking. I don't know how she had the nerve to approach you. I sucked in a breath, my heart pounding. Chloe looked at me with a meaningful expression. I gave an awkward laugh. The lady is right. That person is no good. They can't be compared. Even if I were crazy, I would never get involved with someone like that again. She only came looking for me with bad intentions. Luckily, I'm not as naive as I used to be. I'm not so easily fooled. The cashier swiped my card and handed it back to me with both hands. Here's your card, sir. Goodbye, ma'am. I quickly hurried out of the store with Chloe. Once we were outside the supermarket, I started to explain. I think you probably know that before I married you, I had an ex-girlfriend named Vanessa Reed. Back in college, I didn't understand how deceitful people could be, so I fell for a toxic person like her. Of course, after we got married, I cut off all contact with her. The other day, when I was coming out of the supermarket, she showed up looking for me. I knew she had bad intentions, so I immediately refused when she asked me to go with her. That older lady was one of the kind people who helped lecture her. Chloe nodded, indicating she knew. Vanessa Reed, second daughter of the Reed Corporation. I hear she's very stingy. Yes, extremely stingy. She used to put on such an act, like she was some kind of elite. Back then, the original me, I thought she was this incredibly outstanding upperclassman, so I felt a bit insecure around her. Who knew I'd later hear that she was actually interested in my classmate and was just playing with me. It makes me so angry just talking about it. I can't stand toxic people like her. Just stay away from her from now on. Yeah, I definitely won't give her the time of day. Dealing with someone like that is a waste of life. After we got back, I started preparing dinner. Chloe walked into the kitchen. Need any help? I was so startled I almost jumped, and I quickly waved my hands. No, I can handle it. You have so much to do all day. Just go and focus on your work. I'll call you when dinner is ready. Chloe nodded and turned to leave. I, with my apron on, continued to busy myself. Once the food was cooked and on the table, I went to knock on Chloe's door. Chloe let go of the mouse, closed all the tabs on her screen, and then got up to eat. We usually didn't have much to say to each other, and I never felt the urge to start a conversation. But today was an exception. As soon as Chloe sat down, she spoke. Someone is coming to install the dishwasher tomorrow. My hand, holding chopsticks, paused midair. A dishwasher? You bought a dishwasher? Didn't we agree I would take my time to pick one? Didn't you say you have trouble making decisions? So I just picked one for you. All you have to do is use it. I felt a bit helpless. Well, I'll try to stay home tomorrow then. The topic was closed. Just as we were about to continue eating, my phone rang. Hello. I was stunned for a moment, not understanding why Chloe would want me to meet with Spencer Montgomery. Spencer's voice continued on the other end of the line. Ethan, don't be hostile to everyone just because you've hit a rough patch. Not everyone is out to kick you while you're down or laugh at you. Even if I can't do much, I can still chat with you and help you feel a little better. You've been feeling down for so long. Are you really going to keep bottling it all up? In the past, Spencer had always played the role of a caring, understanding older brother figure to the original guy, who would confide in him about everything. That's why the original guy would do whatever Spencer asked. And because of this, when faced with my current cold attitude, Spencer instinctively assumed I was just being proud and playing hard to get. All right, since you put it that way, I'll meet with you. I'm curious to see what you have to say. I received Chloe's signal and had no choice but to agree. The person on the other end of the line was very pleased, and after a few more words, we hung up. Why do you want me to see him? Chloe put down her chopsticks and said calmly. Mr. Montgomery never does anything without a reason. He sought you out before to try and get information about my movements from you. Now that you're no longer of any use to him in that regard, for him to seek you out again means he must have found some other way to use you. If you don't go, he'll just find another way. I understood instantly. The subtext was, since it's inevitable, it's better to just give him the opportunity to get close from the start. Sure enough, Chloe's next sentence confirmed it. No matter the situation, it's always better to have some control than none at all. And it's better to be on guard knowing someone has ill intentions than to be schemed against from behind without a clue. Yes, I understand. It wasn't that I didn't know this principle. It was just that my previous life never required me to think so much. I still hadn't fully adapted to my current role or this new environment. But the great heiress was usually so quiet. For her to suddenly bring this up with me, was she trying to teach me something? Across from me, Chloe picked up her chopsticks again and began to eat slowly. From my perspective, the woman ate with her usual elegance, as if she wasn't bothered at all by the fact that someone was plotting against her. Yes, plotting against her. As the original guy, I didn't think I had anything worth being schemed over by Spencer. The only one worth his effort was the great heiress, Chloe. Regarding my meeting with Spencer, Chloe gave me only one instruction. Chat casually, but don't touch on any sensitive topics, and then report back to her with the information. I nodded, noting the location Spencer had chosen, a famous coffee shop downtown. When I got the invitation, I looked it up online. Even the cheapest drink was over $200. When had I ever been so extravagant? On the day of the meeting, I made sure to dress well. Even though I was bound to be mocked afterward, at least I couldn't be criticized for looking sloppy. However, I never would have imagined that Spencer's first words to me would be a jab. Ethan, I know you're hurting. You've always been so proud, but now that things have come to this, why do you have to put on a brave face in front of me? I won't look down on you. If I didn't know what kind of person Spencer was, I might have actually believed he was concerned for me. It's quite a feat to say something like that while maintaining a look of worry and concern. You're joking, Mr. Montgomery. No matter how tough life gets, one must never give up on looking good. After all, I'm handsome. It would be a waste not to dress up. Youth is fleeting, so not a single day should be wasted. Besides, with my natural gifts, not making myself look sharp would be a waste of God's favor. Since he had thrown the first punch and I wasn't one to be pushed around, I immediately struck back at his weak spot. All right, our Ethan is the most handsome. Let's go. I know you've been in a bad mood lately, so let's have some tea and chat. I can't do much else, but I can at least listen to you vent. Getting it all out will make you feel better. He maintained his smile, patting my shoulder as a waiter led us to a private room with the best view. I marveled internally. This was truly a place for the wealthy. It was far superior to those small tea houses. This spacious courtyard alone was enough to outshine them all. The design was clearly the work of a master. Spencer saw me staring at the courtyard and assumed I was reminiscing about my past life of luxury. He sneered inwardly but kept his voice gentle. Ethan, what would you like to drink? I snapped back to reality, my eyes lighting up. I rattled off a list of names, all the famous specialties of the shop that I had looked up online. Ethan, you've ordered so much. Will you be able to finish it all? I knew Spencer was wondering why I had suddenly lost all sense of decorum, acting as if I hadn't eaten in days. But I had no intention of hiding it. If I can't finish it, I'll just get it to go. It's not a big deal. To go? You're gonna pack up leftovers? Are you really that hard up for food? Of course. It's wasteful not to. I'm not who I used to be, so of course I have to save where I can. Besides, being frugal is a virtue. Are you so surprised, Mr. Montgomery? Do you have a problem with this virtue? Spencer opened his mouth, found he had no rebuttal, and after a moment's pause, stammered, "You're right. You're doing the right thing. There's nothing wrong with that." "Yes, I think so too. The old me was so extravagant. So many luxury goods, buying them even though I couldn't use them all. It was a waste of money, not to mention time and energy. If only I had used that time to do something meaningful. You know, there are so many people in this world who need help. Why couldn't I see that before? Using that money to sponsor children in impoverished areas would have been so much better than buying a pile of luxury goods to just sit at home. By the way, Mr. Montgomery, you're so kind and wonderful. You must have helped a lot of people in need, right?" Spencer was indeed good at deceiving people and building a public persona, but as for helping the poor, that was a pipe dream. He wasn't that kind-hearted. He felt he didn't have enough money to spend on himself, let alone generously on others. Yet, he smiled with utmost sincerity. "Yes, in my spare time, I often help those in need. After all, my parents taught me from a young age to share with others and help those who require it." Spencer thought I wanted to discuss philanthropy with him, but I changed the subject. "Since you're so generous to complete strangers, Mr. Montgomery, and we've known each other for so long and are such good friends, now that I've fallen on hard times and become one of the poor myself, won't you help me?" Ha! He never would have expected me, the one who always cared so much about face, to say something like that. He was completely taken aback. "Mr. Montgomery, you have no idea how hard my life is now. I can't even dare to buy clothes or watches. Every day I have to face my wife's cold expression and can't even bring up the topic of money. When I call other people, no one even picks up." Seeing the change in Spencer's expression, I got up, moved next to him, and grabbed his hand tightly, not giving him a chance to pull away. "Mr. Montgomery, you're the only good one left, the only one willing to see me. You're the only one I can ask for help. You're always so generous, spending hundreds of thousands without a second thought. You wouldn't be stingy with an old friend like me, would you? You'll help me, right? After all, we're good buddies." I held Spencer's hand tightly, my tone sincere. Seeing he still wasn't responding, I added, "You know, I haven't had a chance to catch up with our old female friends yet." That last sentence hit Spencer right where it hurt. He was desperate, but any woman he was interested in wanted nothing to do with him. He maintained a pristine image on the surface, but many people knew his true colors, making it impossible for him to clean up his reputation. In the end, his family came up with a solution. He should lay low and try to fade from public memory as much as possible. The reason he sought me out this time was to accomplish something that would allow him to show off in front of a woman he was interested in. "Ethan, what are you talking about? We're friends. How could I possibly stand by and do nothing while you're suffering? Didn't I come to see you as soon as I got back in the country? You know me, I've always had a kind heart. I can't even bear to see strangers suffer, let alone you. Don't worry, I don't have a lot of cash on me, but I can spare 100,000 or so. I'll transfer it to you later. Use it for emergencies, and don't be a stranger about it." "All right then, so what happened after Miss Sterling went bankrupt?" "How would I know about that stuff? You know me, my major had nothing to do with business. Even if she told me everything, I wouldn't understand it. As long as we have food on the table, it's fine. She's always been a busy person. I don't know what she's busy with, and I wouldn't get it even if I asked, so I just don't ask. I was thinking about divorce, but then I heard we're not in debt, so I figured we'd just carry on like this." "I heard Vanessa Reed came to see you?" "Yeah, but she's no good. No matter how useless I am, I can't lose face in front of her, right? So I put on an act of being devoted to Chloe, just to spite her. She couldn't compare to Chloe before, and she still can't now. I may not be much, but the fact that Chloe hasn't treated me poorly even in this situation shows she's a decent person. I'd rather trust someone with good character than a scumbag. But maybe Ms. Reed only realized she truly loved you after she lost you. You've never had to endure hardship before. How long can you last in this difficult life? Actually, I don't think life is so bad now. When I had money, there was always some drama, and my mind was cluttered with all sorts of thoughts that I could only soothe by shopping. Now, things are much quieter. I can do whatever I want. I'm not someone who can't handle a tough life. I lived like this before college, so it's fine. I have no complaints. I just need to figure out how to make money now." "You're planning to get a job? How could you? What could you possibly do? Imagine working at a counter or a supermarket and running into someone you know. Finding a job isn't easy. You'd only be able to get unskilled labor. Could you handle that? What's so hard about it? At the very least, I graduated from a prestigious university. I may not have work experience, but I can learn. I have the basic qualifications like English and my professional skills. I'll be fine." Spencer then remembered that I had indeed gotten into a top university on my own merit before meeting Chloe and Vanessa. Comparing that to his own poor academic performance, which required his family to send him abroad for a fancy degree, his mood soured again. He refused to back down verbally. A degree is important, but so is experience. You're just starting to learn now. You can't possibly compete with recent graduates. It won't be easy. I'll give it a try. If I could get into a top university, adapting to a simple job can't be harder than the entrance exams, right? Oh, look at me. Why did I have to bring that up in front of you? It's okay, Mr. Montgomery. It's normal that you wouldn't know. Don't worry about it. Anyway, you don't need to work. I really envy you. You can rely on your family now and your wife in the future. You don't have to do anything, just live a life of leisure. It's pure bliss. In other words, a useless person who can only depend on others. Spencer struggled to keep his expression from twisting, thinking bitterly to himself. No wonder his life is so miserable, he doesn't know how to talk to people. I, on the other hand, was thoroughly enjoying myself. We went back and forth, both knowing exactly what the other was doing, yet maintaining a veneer of politeness while taking jabs at each other. The difference was, Spencer's barbs were aimed at things that didn't bother me, while mine hit him right where it hurt. By the time we parted, I was filled with joy, while Spencer looked like he was about to burst from suppressed anger. Before I left, I didn't forget to remind him about the money. Spencer, already planning to ask me out again to show off and gather more information, nodded in acknowledgement. Then, he reluctantly transferred $100,000 to me. I took the money and went home happy. When I got back, Chloe was sitting on the sofa, looking at her laptop. She looked up at the sound of the door. From the moment I walked in, changed my shoes and clothes, to when I went to wash my hands, I had a smile on my face. I was clearly in a great mood. You're back? Ha ha ha. I made a cool $100,000 for free today. Aren't I amazing? I waved the phone I'd been holding, my voice full of unconcealed pride. A free 100,000? Spencer gave it to you? Yeah. He started off by trying to show off and get information out of me, but I subtly shut him down. Then I pretended to be poor, flattered him, and put him in a position where he couldn't back down. I hinted that if he didn't help me out, I'd tell everyone we know how uncharitable he is. He had to cough up the money to protect his image. Chloe suddenly thought about how the original me used to spend money on bags all day, while this version of me was so happy over $100,000. A strange feeling washed over her. It would be a waste not to take his money. It's not easy to get money out of Spencer. Here, open your payment app, I'll transfer it to you. It's free money anyway. Just think of it as him paying you back for old times. You can use it. Don't worry about us not having enough. Chloe found it novel the way I was so generously offering the money. Is there anything you need me to do? Huh? No, we don't need anything at home right now. Nothing's broken. That wasn't what Chloe meant, but looking at me, it was clear we weren't on the same page. She actually took out her phone, opened her payment app, and held it up to me. I very naturally transferred the money I had just received, which I hadn't even had a chance to get used to, into her account, as if it were the most normal thing in the world. Giving me the free money? Don't you feel a pinch? It was your money to begin with. Weren't you the one who paid for all those meals with Spencer? Now that we're broke, of course he should pay you back. I like money, but I prefer earning it myself now. I'm already earning from my writing. With me around, you won't starve. We might not have gourmet feasts, but I can guarantee simple, hearty meals. Well, thank you for that. No need to be polite. You were always good to me before. By the way, I brought back some leftovers. They're untouched. Do you want some? Although Chloe had grown up in luxury, she was by no means a wasteful person. Except for when business required a show of wealth, she ate normal, 3-square meals at home, just prepared by a skilled cook. She had even eaten leftovers back in her school days. Sure, I didn't expect her to actually agree. I thought the great heiress wouldn't touch such things. I stammered, I just remembered, it's all desserts. Is that okay? What's the problem? I had no choice but to get the bag from the door. I opened it, and sure enough, it was filled with pastries and the like. Chloe casually picked one up and popped it in her mouth. After swallowing, she commented, "These are better when they're warm. You've had them before?" Chloe glanced at me and slowly pulled out a napkin to wipe her hands. My grandfather used to like them. Oh, so old Mr. Sterling liked them, which meant the heiress would occasionally buy them for him. Maybe he had even made her try them. I suddenly realized that I was just bringing up painful memories for her and felt a bit awkward. Sorry, you don't need to apologize. The past has nothing to do with the present, so there's no need for apologies. What do you want for dinner? I'll make it for you. I still felt quite guilty. The heiress had been so good to the original me, and she hadn't given me any trouble since I arrived. Yet here I was, poking at her old wounds, hurting her feelings while she was already dealing with her business failure. It was too much. Anything is fine. I have something to do, so I'll be heading out in a bit. I'll be back tonight, but it'll be late. Okay, you go do what you need to. I'll wait for you for dinner. Chloe glanced at me. She was about to say I didn't have to wait, but seeing my guilty expression, she swallowed her words. Okay. After Chloe left, I thought for a moment, cleaned the apartment, wrote for a bit, and then went out to buy groceries. Around 8 p.m., the sound of the door opening echoed. I looked up from my document to see Chloe coming in. I quickly saved my work. You're back. The food should still be warm. Are you hungry? Chloe took off her coat and hung it on the wall. The chill she had brought in from outside was instantly dispelled by the warmth of the apartment. A quick glance revealed that the dining table was set with food, which I had covered to keep warm. Chloe changed her shoes and came inside. You must be hungry, waiting this long. I just need to wash my hands. I'm fine, not that hungry. I might not be able to come back regularly. In the future, if I'm not coming back, I'll let you know. You should eat when you're hungry. You don't have to wait for me. Okay, I agreed. Someone like Chloe wouldn't be coming home for dinner at a set time every day like someone with a regular job. If she wasn't coming back, it would actually be easier for me. I could just whip up something simple for myself. Driven by guilt, I had made a rather lavish dinner. I had even gone to the trouble of steaming my own buns, a variety of small, delicate ones. Scallion rolls, sweet-filled buns, cornbread buns, sweet potato rolls, and more. They looked adorable and were probably just a few bites each. Chloe picked up a scallion roll and finished it in a couple of bites. She seemed to enjoy it. The buns are good, right? I spent a good 3 or 4 days researching how to make the perfect steamed buns. Eventually, I figured out the perfect ratio and timing to get them like this. The scallion and sweet ones are my favorites. My friends love them too. I chattered on, then suddenly stopped. Crap, in my excitement, I almost let something slip. This is a real skill. You're talking about your college friends, right? Yeah, college friends. We lost touch after a while. I haven't made steamed buns in a long time either. I'm surprised I haven't lost my touch. Thank goodness the heiress didn't think anything more of it, or she would have become suspicious in an instant. I breathed a silent sigh of relief, not noticing the intrigued look on the face of the person across from me. By the way, I simmered the chicken soup for a long time today. You should have some more. Okay. The chicken soup I made was always delicious, and Chloe really liked it. Restaurant soups always seem to be missing something, but mine was perfectly balanced. She knew herself that it wasn't just about the flavor. It was about the feeling of someone taking the time and effort to make soup for you. When she was little, Chloe's mother also liked to make her chicken soup, though it never tasted very good. But because her mother always insisted that chicken soup was good for children, Chloe's father would always force her to finish it. After her parents' accidental death, Chloe had tried all sorts of chicken soup. The Sterling family chefs and even the housekeepers had tried to replicate it, but no one could ever get the taste right. As she got a little older, Chloe stopped showing any particular fondness for chicken soup, and the detail was forgotten. Chloe felt that her current tolerance for the man in front of her might be partly due to the occasional flashes of her mother's warmth that she saw in him. Why are you staring at me? Is there something on my face? I realized Chloe was just staring at me. Didn't she know how much pressure it put on someone when she stared like that? Or had she sensed something was off again? You seem to have dark circles under your eyes. What? I got up and looked in the mirror. After staring for a while, I thought I could faintly see a trace of them. Was this the beginning of dark circles? Couldn't help but shiver. Chloe had only said it casually and didn't expect me to have such a strong reaction. When I didn't come back after a while, she asked, puzzled, "What's wrong? Are you not eating anymore?" Just as she finished speaking, I came out looking sheepish. Maybe it's from staying up late writing lately. A few dark circles don't matter. You're still very handsome. Okay. Hearing Chloe praise me so suddenly, a blush crept up my cheeks, and I felt shy. After dinner, I stood up to clear the dishes but was stopped by Chloe. I'll do it today. No, I can handle it. I took the dishes from Chloe's hands and walked quickly to the kitchen. Chloe smiled silently, shook her head, and didn't argue. As she passed through the living room, she saw my laptop on the coffee table, a document still open. On a whim, she walked over to see what I had been writing. When I came out after cleaning up, I was met with a shocking sight. Chloe was sitting gracefully on the sofa, her chin resting on her hand, reading my novel with intense concentration. Don't look. I practically lunged in front of her. Afraid I'll think it's weird? Why can't I read this novel? It's not very good. All right, then I won't look. As I was silently wondering if my reaction had been too strong, she stopped at her bedroom door and suddenly said, I think it's a bit unrealistic for the female lead to just drop her company to be with the male lead all the time. If she's the CEO of a company, she wouldn't have that much free time. With that, she went into her room and closed the door. I was left sitting where she had been, completely dumbfounded. The great heiress had read at least 2 chapters, and the 2 most cliché ones at that. I wasn't angry at all that my novel had been criticized. I just wanted to clarify to Chloe that I was writing a romance novel, where the romance takes precedence over realism. If I wrote a truly realistic CEO story, it would be full of plot holes and wouldn't attract as many readers. But alas, the heiress didn't understand web novels, and there was no way for me to explain it to her. A few days later, early in the morning, Chloe had just finished breakfast and hadn't left yet when there was a sudden knock on the door. I had just finished washing the dishes, so I went to open it. Who is it? Strange, who would be here so early? The person outside didn't answer, just knocked again. I looked through the peephole and saw two young women standing outside. Both were strikingly handsome and had an air about them. Either one could have been a movie star. They were clearly not ordinary people. My heart skipped a beat. I turned and knocked on Chloe's bedroom door. Someone's at the door. I think they're here for you. Chloe let go of her mouse and came out. She saw the worry on my face. There are two women outside who don't look like ordinary people. See if they're looking for you. I don't think I've ever seen them before. What I didn't say was that I was afraid they were here to cause trouble for Chloe. My mind was racing, wondering what to do if they really were here to make a scene. Outside the door, Olivia paused her knocking and turned to Maya beside her. Are you sure you have the right place? This is where Chloe lives now. Why is no one answering? You don't think she's out, do you? I thought she was still married to that Evans guy. Is he not here either? How should I know? I told you not to come, but you wouldn't listen. Chloe's busy these days. It's not like you're in any trouble. She's not in a rush to see you. But I have to see her. I haven't seen her in a year. And with all the bad luck she's had recently, how can I rest easy without seeing her with my own eyes? She pouted and stubbornly started knocking again, this time pounding on the door. The door suddenly opened. What are you two doing here? Come in. Chloe, I've missed you so much. Your little sister is back. Olivia cried out in delight, rushing forward to hug Chloe tightly before letting go. You're back. That's good. It's clear that in Olivia's heart, only Chloe is her real sister. The rest of us are just extras. Hurry up and come in. I watched from behind, dumbfounded. Sister? Could these two be two of the heiress's best friends? Olivia walked in cheerfully, then turned her head and came face to face with my bewildered expression. She was stunned too, pointing at me. Why is there a man here? Oh wait, you're Ethan? What are you doing here? Why can't I be here? Chloe, I can't believe you not only didn't divorce him, but you're living with him? If we don't live here together, are we supposed to sleep on the street? Why do you have so many questions all the time? Ethan and Chloe aren't divorced. What's so strange about them living together? Let's go in and sit down. Olivia opened her mouth but couldn't manage a smile for me, so she just pretended not to see me. She walked around to the sofa and sat down. Maya nodded at me and did the same. With guests here, I went to the dining area to pour some tea. When I came back, I saw the three women sitting on the sofa. Besides Chloe, the other two were staring at her. The silent, awkward atmosphere made me wish I could disappear immediately. I have something to do this morning, so I'll be leaving now. You all can chat. Okay, I won't be home for lunch. All right. I quickly went to my room, threw on a jacket, grabbed a few things and hurried out. Ever since Chloe had spoken, Olivia had been staring at her with a look of shock and disbelief. The moment I closed the door behind me, she said with an indescribable expression, "Home for lunch? Chloe, are you saying this place is home?" If she hadn't said it, it might have been fine, but her words made Chloe pause for a moment before quickly regaining her composure. I've been eating here lately. His cooking is not bad. No, Chloe, are you really planning to stay with this man? Besides his looks, he has nothing to offer. And it's not like we're short on handsome men. I don't believe you'd fall for him just for his looks. If you were going to, you would have done so long ago. But this is just too much, isn't it? With all due respect, in all these years, I haven't seen a handsome man of his type who looks better. Secondly, people can change. You didn't know him before you went abroad, and you haven't interacted with him since you've been back. What gives you the confidence to judge him? Finally, do you think Chloe is a fool? There must be a reason she's tolerating Ethan. Don't forget, to the outside world, our Chloe is now penniless. Isn't it strange that this Ethan guy is still sticking around under these circumstances? When Maya had been helping Chloe with the background check, she had looked into it carefully. The conclusion she reached was very strange. She guessed that Chloe wanted to keep him around to observe him. After all, it's easier to dodge a direct attack than a hidden one. However, before Olivia could even nod in understanding, Chloe dropped a bombshell. It's not as complicated as you think. He's changed. He's fine now. He's living here because he has nowhere else to go. These days, he's earning his own money, cooking, and has gone back to the way he lived before college. But why won't he divorce you? Getting a divorce and starting a new life are two separate things, aren't they? Why does he have to be by your side? There are other reasons for that which you don't need to know. Just be polite to him in the future. He's not as bad as you think. Olivia was about to ask something else, but Maya cut her off. Chloe has her own plans. We don't need to worry. Since Ethan isn't what we thought, we'll just be more polite to him from now on. Olivia, I'm not trying to lecture you, but I know you're close to Chloe, but can you not get so worked up every time it's about her? Don't be like Scarlett all the time, or you'll end up just as scatterbrained. I'm not. How can I be the same as that little fool Scarlett? You're getting pretty close. We told Scarlett not to go looking for Chloe at the gala, but she couldn't help herself and almost caused trouble. You two are two peas in a pod. I am not. I just got back. I don't know the situation, okay? You never explain things clearly, always speaking in riddles. It's a wonder I haven't died of anxiety. It's only because I'm patient. Olivia glared at Maya, who just responded with a soft chuckle. let's not talk about this. Olivia, are you planning to join the family business now that you're back? I don't want to, but my old man is forcing me. You know I have no interest in the auto industry. It's so annoying. You may not be interested, but you have a talent for it. You were able to spot problems in your dad's new car designs back in high school. Did you really think he'd let you go? He probably wakes up laughing from his dreams, thinking about how he produced a daughter born to serve the family business. Give me a break. If I had known my old man was so cunning, I never would have fallen for his trick. My brief period of freedom is about to end, and my poor food business is going to be taken over by my dad. It's so infuriating. That old guy never showed his foodie side, to think he could hide it for so many years. It's terrifying. Having an elder push you forward is a blessing in its own way. Your father has put a lot of thought into your future. You should cherish it. I just wasn't born with Chloe's appreciation for classical culture. All tea tastes the same to me. I just chug it down for the satisfaction. Isn't that perfect? Haha, you're right. Just for the satisfaction. That's great. Haha. Being laughed at, Olivia didn't mind at all. So what if she didn't have a cultured palate? It wasn't a big deal. She knew she wasn't as refined as Chloe anyway. By the way, Chloe, what's your plan? I refuse to believe that guy, Julian, is that good. How can someone in this world be so prescient, always one step ahead? Chloe, are you sure there isn't a mole? The faint smile on Chloe's face instantly vanished. She pondered for a moment. I'm not sure where the problem lies. Even when I don't tell anyone my plans, they still get leaked. A simple mole can't explain that. As she spoke, both Olivia and Maya listened intently. Should I check your things again? Maybe there's some advanced surveillance technology one missed before. I don't think so. I tried moving to a new place with nothing, not even my own clothes, and the situation didn't improve. Does he really have some kind of special ability? Even our other sisters couldn't do anything? No. We tried to corner him together, but whether it was a trap or a direct confrontation, he managed to evade it all. Somehow he got connected with the Vance family, and old Mr. Vance himself stepped in to mediate, which was a veiled warning to us. Old Mr. Vance? How is that possible? I thought he stopped meddling in the affairs of the younger generation long ago. That Julian is disgusting. If he wants to fight, fine, but to call for backup, humph. Do you think this is a schoolyard fight? A simple tit-for-tat? Damn it, why would old Mr. Vance help him? I've never heard of him being so charitable. I heard it was his wife. She saved old Mr. Vance by chance and really hit it off with him. But why is he so fixated on Chloe? She has so many businesses. Even if he focuses on developing his construction company, it doesn't really conflict with her other industries. Seeing the grim expressions on her two friends' faces, Chloe suddenly smiled. All right, isn't this much better? Don't you two worry. Now that I'm penniless, I can finally see what he's really after. Only by being penniless and having nothing to her name could she find out if he was targeting her personally or just trying to swallow her businesses for his own gain. So, Chloe, are you planning to focus only on your tech company from now on? It's a huge investment, and it could be a while before you see any returns. The tech industry is the future. I've wanted to restructure and upgrade my businesses for a long time. Before, I had to consider that group of leeches in my family. Now that I'm free of that burden, it's much easier. That's good too. It's like you've shed a heavy load, but it's also true that you've suffered a great loss. When I take over my family's business, I'll help you go after him. I refuse to believe he can predict every single move. Don't cause more trouble. It'll take you a while just to learn the ropes of your family business. By the time you're ready, Chloe will have already made her comeback. Just focus on your own affairs. Chloe is more capable than you are, and if worst comes to worst, she still has us. I've been working for so many years. It's nice to finally get a break. What's the rush? Chloe, how can you not be anxious at all? When has Chloe ever been anxious? Now that you mention it, that's true. I've never seen her flustered. All right then, Chloe, if you need anything, just call me. I'll be there in a heartbeat. The three of them chatted for a while longer before leaving together. When I came back in the afternoon, the apartment was empty, and I breathed a sigh of relief. The great heiress's friends were all so intimidating, one more than the next, and they made their dislike for me crystal clear. It was really testing my limits. I had said I had something to do, but in reality, I had nothing. It was just an excuse to get out. With nowhere else to go, I ended up at a cyber cafe to write. The beautiful woman playing games next to me kept turning to look at me, losing one game after another. When she finally seemed about to strike up a conversation, I switched computers. But then, the girl next to my new computer also started trying to talk to me, asking why I was writing here, as if she was trying to absorb some positive energy from me. It was all very frustrating. Back home, I could finally relax. I changed my clothes, stretched luxuriously, and plopped down on the sofa. Then I felt like taking a shower, so I checked the message from Chloe on my phone. She confirmed she would be back very late, so I made a beeline for the bathroom. After a wonderfully comfortable hot shower, I dried my hair, made some lemon tea, and grabbed the snacks I had bought earlier. I settled happily onto the sofa. I hesitated for a moment, then decided to put off writing for a bit. I opened my laptop, found a movie I had been planning to watch, and started it happily. As I watched, I would either grab a snack or take a sip of my lemon tea. There is nothing better in this world than having nothing to do, feeling refreshed after a shower with dry hair, and watching a show while eating snacks. This was the first time I had felt so content since coming to this world. As the movie reached its climax, I was completely engrossed, forgetting where I was. Just as a door burst open in the movie, an incongruous sound of a real door opening echoed through the room. The sound effects team should have their lunch taken away. That door sound was so out of place. "Did you not eat lunch?" Chloe's voice suddenly came from the doorway. I jumped, and the potato chips in my hand fell onto my crossed legs. I looked up to see Chloe standing there with a frown on her face. Chloe stood tall and elegant, her head tilted slightly, frowning at me. No, more accurately, she was frowning at my now empty hands. In Chloe's eyes, the man a few feet away was staring at her with wide, dazed eyes, like a startled little animal frozen in place. A bit like a koala. You, weren't you supposed to be back late tonight?" I finally managed to regain my composure and my voice, my embarrassment impossible to hide. My words carried a hint of accusation. Chloe slipped on her slippers and came inside, her gaze shifting away. I came back as soon as I was done. Olivia was insisting on seeing her company, but then her father suddenly summoned her, so she had to go back. "We can visit the company another time. It's not going anywhere. A day or two won't make a difference. Did you not eat lunch?" I gently pinched the corner of the chip bag, carefully pulling it out of sight with a smile on my face. I ate. I was just bored, watching a movie and having some snacks." As I spoke, I maneuvered the chip bag under the table and quickly tossed it into the trash. In the original guy's memories, the great heiress had never touched junk food. This made me feel that eating snacks in front of her was somehow improper. "That's all junk food. You should eat less of it." Yes, I only have it occasionally. "By the way, are you eating at home tonight?" Hearing the familiar word home, a flicker of something passed through Chloe's eyes. Yes, I had already planned what takeout to order for dinner. Now I had to cook again. The movie was out of the question, my shower felt like a waste, and all that happiness from before was for nothing. The great joys and sorrows of life always come so suddenly. "What's wrong with you?" Not hearing me ask what's for dinner as I usually did, Chloe, who had just poured herself some water, tilted her head and saw that I had a rather pitiful expression on my face. "And nothing. What do you want for dinner tonight?" "Anything is fine. You decide." "Then I'll make meatball soup. I have a lot of leftover pulp from making soy milk this morning. I was planning to fry the meatballs tonight and have the soup tomorrow morning, but since you're back, I'll just make it now." "Okay, I'm going to get some work done." Go ahead. I'll call you when it's ready." After Chloe went to her room, I glanced at the computer screen and saw my reflection. It was only then that I realized, in my haste to hide the snacks, I had completely forgotten that I hadn't combed my hair. I finally understood why the great heiress had been looking at me so strangely. I scrambled up from the sofa, dashed to the bathroom, and started combing my hair furiously. I was kicking myself internally. Why did I have to let myself go like that? Haven't I ever heard of Murphy's Law? Now I've gone and made a complete fool of myself in front of the great heiress. Thinking back to how poised and elegant she looked, I wanted to bang my head against the glass. I'm not usually someone who cares that much about appearances, but for some reason, Chloe just has this effect on people. If you don't look your best standing next to her, you instantly feel like trash in comparison. I strongly suspect this is part of the reason why Chloe is so disliked. She usually socializes with the rich and powerful. The young heirs and heiresses grew up in wealthy circles, used to feeling superior to ordinary people. But then there's this one person who, just by her presence, makes everyone else feel inferior. Who wouldn't be annoyed by that? The original me never even considered trying to win Chloe over because he lacked the guts and courage. Now, I had to cook for this walking work of art and I had to do it well. Then, I had to maintain my absolute courage, ignore her charm, and eat face to face with her. Frying meatballs always leaves you smelling of oil and smoke. I watched the pot with a serious expression, my hands moving deftly as I squeezed out one meatball after another and dropped them into the hot oil. The apartment filled with a rich, savory aroma. An hour after she had gone into her room, Chloe came out. The moment she opened the door, she was hit with the smell of fried food and heard a faint sound. Following the sound to the kitchen, she saw me with a focused expression on my face. My movements were very skilled, and I was humming an unknown tune, completely lost in my own world. Golden brown meatballs are coming out one by one. One little cutie is done, and a whole bunch of other cuties are waiting in line to be cooked. Yes, you are all adorable little meatballs, and you're going to taste amazing. Soon, I will carefully turn you into a delicious meatball soup, so your hard work won't be in vain. I was the only person Chloe had ever seen who could make cooking so entertaining. Curious, she crossed her arms and leaned against the doorframe, watching to see what I would do next. I did not disappoint. There were only a few meatballs left. I scooped them out, turned to chop the washed vegetables, and continued to talk to myself. You're little cuties too. It must be hard work being so beautiful. I'll treat you well too. I promise to let you float beautifully in the soup. Yes, I won't let your lives be in vain. I was happily muttering to myself, my mind completely occupied with brainstorming plot points for my novel. When I turned my head, I was startled to see a person standing in the doorway. I jumped back, my foot slipped, and I started to fall backward. Chloe was startled by my reaction and immediately reached out to catch me. But before she could, I had already steadied myself by grabbing the edge of the sink behind me. Chloe's hand was on my waist, and the unexpected warmth felt like a jolt, sending a shiver down my spine. Why did you suddenly appear there? You almost made me fall. Do you need something? No, I just came to get a glass of water and heard you in here, so I came to see. I was just humming to myself. It gets a little boring just cooking. I see. Are the meatballs done? Yeah. By the way, do you want to try one? Chloe hesitated for less than a second. Oh, I forgot. These meatballs are tasty, but they're not very healthy. If you're not hungry, you should probably wait. Not healthy? Even if Chloe didn't know much about nutrition, she knew that something like this was just a bit oily. It wasn't exactly unhealthy. She took a step forward. How do you eat them? I was momentarily confused, then realized she actually wanted to try one. I instinctively handed her the chopsticks I was holding. Chloe took the chopsticks, glanced at them, and saw that they had already been used. She paused. What's wrong? Nothing. She handed the chopsticks back to me and, as I stared in confusion, she simply picked up a meatball with her fingers and popped it into her mouth. I watched, dumbfounded. The great heiress was actually eating a meatball with her hands. The fresh meatball was still hot. When she bit into it, the rich flavors of bean and oil filled her mouth. Chloe sucked in a sharp breath from the heat, but it was indeed delicious. We were already standing close, and she finished the meatball right in front of me. Chloe stepped back a bit. Out of the corner of her eye, she saw me staring at her blankly and asked, "What's wrong?" Her face suddenly turned towards me, and I was startled again. Luckily, I didn't slip this time when I stepped back. There was a wall behind me and my back hit it. Nothing. Are the meatballs good? Not bad. You should go out if you're done. It's smoky in the kitchen. The meatballs are fried, and the soup is easy to make, so it should be ready soon. Go on. I'll call you when it's done. I finally managed to finish the meatball soup, but my earlier cheerful mood was completely gone. Chloe could clearly sense that I was a bit down. I served her a bowl packed with ingredients, while mine was mostly broth. Didn't you fry a lot of meatballs? Why didn't you make more? Is that not enough for you? I looked at her bowl, which was full. It should have been plenty, given her usual appetite. Was she especially hungry today? She pointed a slender finger at my bowl. Your bowl? Oh, I was around the cooking fumes for too long. I don't have much of an appetite. I would never admit that I had weighed myself before calling her to dinner and found that I had gained 2 pounds. Chloe didn't say anything more, but she noticed that as I ate, I kept staring at her bowl, my eyes screaming, I want some. Thinking about my habit of weighing myself before meals, she suddenly understood what was going on. You ate too many snacks today. It wasn't a question, it was a statement. I felt a knife twist in my gut. No, I didn't. Chloe didn't speak, just glanced at me. Okay, fine, I had some snacks, but it was just a bowl of Jell-O, a box of cookies, a small bag of popcorn, and half a bag of chips. Just, saying it out loud, it did sound like a lot, but all those snacks together didn't weigh 2 pounds. Snacks are full of additives. You should eat less of them. If you're craving something, we can go out to eat. I'll figure out the money. I never expected Chloe to say something like that. The flicker of anger that had risen in me was instantly extinguished. Her face was still calm, but her concern had been genuine. The great heiress was actually a really good person. She was just trying to give me well-intentioned advice. I know. I'll try not to eat snacks in the future. Chloe said nothing more, and I went back to eating my meal obediently. After dinner and doing the dishes, I went back to my daily routine of writing. But this time, instead of ignoring me, Chloe came out of her room and sat down next to me. I spoke with my friends today. They won't treat you like that again. I've cleared up their past misunderstandings about you. If they come over in the future, you don't have to go out of your way to avoid them. You mean your best friends? Chloe nodded. It's fine, it's fine. It doesn't matter if they misunderstand me or not. They're your friends, not mine. I don't mind. Besides, it's normal for them not to like me. I'm not really their kind of person. We can just stay out of each other's way from now on. It's more convenient for you to talk when I'm not around, and I really did have something to do today. All right, are you going to keep writing your novel? Yes. Did you finish your movie? I still have a little left. I'll watch it when I have time. If you don't want me to hear, you can get a pair of headphones. I silently retracted the hand that was reaching for my cup and forced a stiff smile. Why would I mind you hearing? Are you so impressive with all your vast knowledge? She didn't answer my question. Instead, she picked up my cup and handed it to me. If you want to write a good novel, just watching movies isn't enough. You have to analyze them. I don't mind being disturbed. You can watch whatever you want. Okay, I know. Chloe got up and went back to her room. I took a sip of water, put the cup down, and still didn't turn the movie back on. For the next few days, Chloe continued her routine of leaving early and coming back late. Our daily life settled into a pattern of having breakfast and dinner together, then going about our separate business during the day. One day, Chloe came home in the afternoon. I was writing at the time and didn't even look up when I heard the door, just said out of habit, "You're back." A familiar child's voice replied, the surprise and disdain in it completely undisguised. "What is he doing here? You're not divorced yet." The speaker was the son of Chloe's cousin. Chloe's cousin and his wife had died in an accident. Since they had been the closest to Chloe, she had adopted their child after their death. The little boy's name was Leo. He was 8 years old and had always looked down on the original me. It wasn't that the little boy had a problem with me specifically. It was just that the original me had never been fond of children. Ever since the little boy came into his life, he had never once smiled at him. That was one thing, but once, when the little boy was on break and starving at home, the chef was sick. He was clamoring for food, but the original me was in a rush to meet his fake friends and, without paying attention, ordered him incredibly spicy food that he couldn't eat, which made the little boy sick for days. Because of that, Chloe cut my allowance significantly, and from then on, our dislike for each other grew. Since I transmigrated, I've actually come to like kids, but little Leo probably doesn't like me. His words just now made his attitude very clear. We're not divorced, so it's normal for him to be here. Not only that, but you'll be living with him from now on, and he'll be in charge of your meals. What, Aunt Chloe? You're not joking, are you? Before, when he had shown his dislike for me in front of Chloe, she had never objected. As long as it wasn't too extreme, she wouldn't interfere. Why was it different this time? Aunt Chloe, is what they're saying true? Are you really bankrupt and have no money? Is that why you have to put up with this man? I stayed silent, curious to see how Chloe would respond. Chloe calmly flicked little Leo on the forehead. Children need to watch what they say too. Don't think you can say whatever you want just because you're a kid. Yes, I'm bankrupt and have no money, so you don't have a choice. Leo's mouth fell open, his eyes wide. He stared for 3 seconds, then shook his head vigorously. Impossible. My dad used to say you were the most capable person, Aunt Chloe. How could the most capable person go bankrupt? And your business is huge. How could it all disappear just like that? Oh my God, I'm not even grown up yet. How am I supposed to earn money to support the family? I'm still a kid, and I have to bear the burden of providing for the family. But what can I do? I'm only in the 3rd grade. Maybe you can send me to be a child model, Aunt Chloe. I've learned how to walk the runway, and I'm handsome. Someone would probably want me. That's impossible because you have no background. How do you think so many unattractive children become models? They don't just look at faces, they look at family connections. Don't believe me? You don't have a family connection anymore. You're lying, Aunt Chloe. You must know a lot of people. You've helped so many people before. Ask them to help you. Then you need to remember this. It's easy to add flowers to a brocade, but hard to send charcoal in a snowstorm. When you help others, don't expect them to help you in the future. You'll be lucky if they don't kick you when you're down. Chloe followed him into the bathroom, her voice echoing from inside. Then what do we do? Are we going to live here from now on, never eating delicious food or wearing nice clothes again? The kids at school told me I'll probably have to transfer soon. Is that true? That's right. From now on, you'll be living here with me during your breaks. We probably won't have the food and clothes we used to. As for transferring, do you want to transfer? Yes. My classmates are all laughing at me. They think I don't know, but I've heard everything. But you're not transferring. Your tuition is paid for another semester. Chloe came out with Leo and sat down on the living room sofa. I had been pretending to write, but now I couldn't ignore them any longer. I silently took out some oranges and placed them on the table in front of Leo and Chloe. We don't have any other fruit in the house. This will have to do for now. But they're all saying I'm annoying. When you don't have power, it's normal for people to talk about you or even laugh at you. But even when you're successful and in a high position, people will still talk about you and laugh at you, and it will be even worse than it is now. If you're strong enough, they'll avoid you and won't say it to your face. You haven't greeted him yet. As she spoke, she peeled an orange for Leo. When he reached for it, she tilted her head slightly in my direction. Leo turned to look at me, who had turned to look at him after hearing Chloe's words. He opened his mouth, paused, then hesitated before asking Chloe, "What should I call him? Why don't you just call me Ethan?" "Okay, Ethan, are you on break now? What do you want to eat? I'll make it for you. You can cook? Then why didn't you before?" he asked, looking at me with wide, innocent eyes, but the question was sharp. "We had a chef before. You say it like you're some great cook. Rice is fine. Just stir-fry a few dishes to go with it." But things were a little different this time. When I cooked, I put in more effort than usual, trying to make the rice and dishes look a bit more fun and kid-friendly. I've always liked children. I used to play with my friend's baby from time to time. When I first saw Leo, I immediately took a liking to the little guy. He was just so cute. If our relationship hadn't been so strained, I probably would have run over and hugged him. Chloe took Leo into the room. A while later, When the food was ready, I went to call them. Leo had already changed into his pajamas, washed his hands obediently, and was sitting in the chair I had set out for him. He looked at the food on the table, seemingly very surprised. "You made all this?" he asked, pointing at the dishes, which were arranged to look like cartoon faces. Even the rice had a smiley face on it, made from some unknown ingredient. Of course, this was only for his meal. Chloe's and my food were normal. He had his own special plate. "VIP treatment for your first day of break. I'll buy you a smaller set of utensils later. The big ones are inconvenient for you. You don't have to make special food for me. I'm not a little kid anymore. I don't need to be coddled like this. I eat normal food at school. I'm in the 3rd grade. Even if you were in college, you'd still be a little kid to us. Besides, I'm the one who decides what to cook. You only have the right to choose whether to eat it or not. If you don't eat it, next time I'll make your least favorite food. Anyway, we're broke now. If you don't eat, don't expect any allowance to buy snacks. You'll just have to go hungry. What do you say when someone does something nice for you?" Leo pressed his lips together and said obediently, "Thank you, Ethan." I couldn't resist ruffling his hair. "You're welcome." The kid clearly loved it but had to pretend he didn't. Such a tsundra. But his proud little act was cute too. You don't have to make him separate meals in the future. Sterling children aren't that picky. Leo nodded eagerly, agreeing that he was indeed that kind of child, while protectively covering his head. It's his business if he's not picky. It's the adult's business if they want to spoil him. Can't Leo handle this level of pampering? Will this really make him spoiled? Of course not. How could a little food make me spoiled? Then I'll have to trouble you to accept my sugar-coated bullets. I have a soft spot for cute kids. Now that we have a child in the house, I can try making kids' meals. Thanks for your help. You're welcome. Chloe took in the interaction between us and didn't object to me making kids' meals again. The 3 of us began to eat. During the meal, Leo ate much faster than I remembered, a clear sign that he enjoyed the food. After we finished, I went to do the dishes as usual. Leo was even more surprised. "You do housework too? It seems we really are broke." "Can't be helped. Life is full of sudden ups and downs. So, you have to study hard, or you'll end up not being able to afford food in the future too. I'm first in my grade, and my school is one of the best in the country. I participated in a competition this semester, and my teacher said I could win first place. By the way, first place comes with a lot of prize money. I think it's 50,000. Then we'll have money for food. Rich kids really have it good. They go to private schools where even the prize money for elementary school competitions is that high. I can participate in more competitions. Before, Aunt Chloe wouldn't let me because she was afraid it would affect my studies. But now I should be able to. If I participate in 4 competitions, maybe I can win 200,000, and then we'll have money for food. No, wait, I don't have that much time. If I want to maintain my grades, I can probably only do 3 competitions. That's only 150,000. That's not even enough for food. 150,000 isn't even enough for food? Do you know how many people don't even make 10,000 a month? 150,000 is a lot of money. 150,000 is only enough to buy you 2 watches. Is that a lot? How much did you used to spend on a pair of shark fins? What does it have to do with us if other people make less than 10,000 a month? Are we supposed to be like them? Sigh. I never knew being broke was so scary. It's turned a big spender into someone who thinks 150,000 is a lot. How long has Aunt Chloe even been broke? It's about adapting to your circumstances. When you have money, you can spend it however you want. When you don't, you have to be frugal. Even if you did earn 150,000, you couldn't spend it all on food. Our standard of living has dropped, so the quality of our meals has to drop too. But don't worry, you won't be malnourished just from eating my home cooking. That's really depressing. Chloe strode over, a glass of water in her hand, and glanced at Leo. It's time for you to do your homework. Oh, okay. With his back to Chloe, he gave me a little shush gesture before heading into her room. Where is he sleeping tonight? With you. Yes, I'll look into it later. We'll move to a new place. She had originally arranged for Leo to attend a camp during his break, but the kid didn't want to go, so he had to come back here. I chose my words carefully. About what I said before about buying an apartment, have you looked into it? I've sold some more watches and clothes these past few days, so a down payment is definitely not a problem. I'm still looking. Oh, well, since Leo will be staying with us during his breaks, we should get a 3-bedroom place. I'm earning royalties now, so I can make the mortgage payments. You don't have to worry about the money. I was afraid the heiress would worry about the cost and settle for a lesser place. With nothing more to say, we both went back to our own things. Having a child in the house suddenly made it feel so much more alive, especially since Leo was not a shy kid. Chloe was busy during the day, so it was just Leo and me at home. At first, we could both do our own thing, but eventually he got bored and would strike up a conversation with me when he came out to stretch his legs. He was a kid, after all. Even though he was mature for his age, he couldn't sit still forever. After discovering that I had really changed and was nice to him, Leo wasn't as cold to me as he had been at the beginning. Why don't you divorce my aunt? She's really broke. I think it's weird too, but broke is broke. If you stick with her, she's not going to give you a ton of money to spend like before. You just said she used to give me a lot of money to spend. So shouldn't I stay with her through this tough time? If I left her now, wouldn't that make me a bad guy? Do you want me to leave your aunt so she has to take care of you all by herself? Then you'd be all alone, without even someone to cook for you. That's not the point. I won't starve. I don't know what's up with you, but it seems you're not so bad after all. I used to really dislike you. I felt like all you knew how to do was shop, and that my aunt had married a human credit card machine. But my aunt had a lot of money back then, so it didn't matter much. It was just a shame she could have married someone better. Well, at least now it seems you're not so terrible. When my parents were alive, they told me not to judge a book by its cover, but to look at a person's character and heart. You might not be very talented, but you don't run away from problems, so your character is passable. I couldn't help but ruffle his hair. You're just a little kid, but you think about a lot. This isn't something you should be worrying about. All you need to do is study and play happily every day. You don't have to worry about my studies at all. I told you I'm always first in my class. Don't compare me to the other kids you've seen. I'm a member of the high IQ club. I pulled back the orange I was about to hand him, broke off a slice, and popped it into my mouth, watching Leo chew. Did I ever tell you that I also graduated from a prestigious university? You? A prestigious university. That's right, a top-tier university. There's a reason I married your aunt and became someone who only knew how to shop. I've figured things out now and gone back to normal, understand? I offered the orange to Leo again, then pulled it back just as he reached for it, making him grab at empty air. Are you going to give it to me or not? I grinned and finally handed it to him for real. Here, eat up. How about wontons for lunch? I'm getting a little hungry anyway. Make a lot. You got it. I'll make sure to fill up this little young master. I saved my document and got up to start cooking. Leo watched me go to the kitchen, his eyes holding a look of attachment that he himself didn't recognize. Ever since his parents passed away, he hadn't experienced a life so full of warmth and domesticity. In Chloe's mansion, though he never lacked for anything and Chloe was good to him, it didn't feel like a real life. His heart had never truly been at peace. Now, I checked in on him every day, my attitude completely natural. When he talked to me, it felt like talking to family, where he could say anything. He once again felt like he had a home. He thought he understood why his aunt wasn't as cold to this man as she used to be. Chloe could also sense that Leo was becoming more and more comfortable around me. When she asked him at night how his day was, Leo would usually say he had a good time. One evening at dinner, I suddenly suggested, I have some free time in the next couple of days, and Leo has been cooped up at home for so long. How about I take him to the amusement park tomorrow? Chloe's hand, holding her chopsticks, paused. She clearly saw Leo tense up at my words. She thought for a moment and realized that Leo had been back for 5 days and hadn't left the house once. All right, I'll adjust my work schedule for tomorrow. I opened my mouth, but closed it again, feeling helpless. What I really wanted to say was that I had planned on taking Leo by myself. But since the great heiress said she was going, I couldn't very well say no. Leo, on the other hand, lit up, the joy in his eyes unmistakable. He gave me a brilliant smile. Thank you, Ethan. And thank you, Aunt Chloe. If you're busy, Aunt Chloe, Ethan and I can go by ourselves. I had forgotten how crowded amusement parks get on weekends. I had never been to one in my past life. It was only after seeing how well-behaved Leo was, cooped up at home, and coincidentally reading a scene set in an amusement park in a novel, that I thought of taking him. Thinking about how Leo's parents had passed away when he was 6, and how Chloe probably wouldn't think to take him to a place like that, I couldn't help but feel a pang of sympathy for the little guy. The next day, Leo woke up very early. When he opened his eyes, he glanced outside. The sky was not yet fully light. He then looked at the small alarm clock on his nightstand. It wasn't even 6 a.m. Chloe usually got up at 6 a.m. and would wake him then. He lay still, afraid to make any big movements that might wake her. Leo felt that living here was much better than having his own large bedroom in the mansion. This was the first time he had felt so close to Chloe. He was fond of her, but there had always been a certain distance between them. Since coming here and living this life, he would sometimes get the illusion that he was still living with his mom and dad. But he liked that illusion. You're awake. Leo flinched and turned to see Chloe already sitting up, looking at him. Although her face was expressionless, she had a sleepy, languid air about her that made her seem softer than during the day. Yeah, just woke up. He quickly got up himself, grabbed his clothes from the side, and started getting dressed. Chloe made no move to help. Sterling children learned to be independent from a young age. Leaving the bedroom, the two of them instinctively tiptoed to the bathroom to wash up. In the mirror above the sink, the adult and child, who bore a slight resemblance to each other, brushed their teeth with the same beautiful faces. Aunt Chloe, should we wake up Ethan? No need, he'll get up on his own. I usually got up at 6 a.m. too, to make breakfast. They would typically go back to their room to do their own things. Aunt Chloe, Ethan works so hard cooking for us. Maybe we should eat out today. You mean he works hard cooking for us every day, don't you? Alright, I suppose we're not so broke that we can't afford to eat out. Ethan doesn't have to cook every single day. This is his life. Then, as Leo was still pondering this, she grabbed him by the collar and hauled him back to the bedroom to read. Just as they went into the bedroom, I came out of mine. I padded over, pulled open all the curtains, and seeing the clearly sunny sky outside, I stretched with a smile on my face. I usually prepped the ingredients for breakfast the night before, so there wasn't much to do. Half an hour later, I went to call them as usual. We all had breakfast together and then got ready to leave. But why are we wearing backpacks? He asked, looking at the small backpack on his shoulders and then at the large one on my back, completely puzzled. Did you forget we're broke now? Everything at the amusement park is so expensive. It's the same stuff, so of course it's cheaper to buy it outside and bring it in. Don't worry, your backpack is just filled with light snacks. It won't be heavy. But snacks can't be that much more expensive inside the park, right? There has to be a limit to how much they can mark up the price. It's just snacks. How much could it be? I unzipped his backpack and took out a pack of cookies. I bought these at the supermarket for $10. You can check how much they sell for at the park later. Fine, I'll check. He grumbled but still obediently turned around and let me stuff the snacks back into his backpack. And with that, the three of us officially set off. Chloe drove us there. With nothing to do on the way, I decided to tell Leo a story. Of course, I couldn't tell a third grader one of my own stories. After some thought, I decided a fairy tale would be best. I chose the classic Cinderella. The story itself wasn't very long, taking less than 10 minutes to tell. Leo listened with apparent seriousness and then gave a very supportive review. Ethan, your enunciation is quite good. I didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Were you even listening to the story? I know Cinderella is a classic, so you've probably heard it or seen it before. But as the saying goes, reviewing the old can lead to new discoveries. You should have gotten something new out of it. You're right, but I've thought about this story many times. There's nothing left to think about. The girls in my class are all moved by the love story between Cinderella and the prince, but with my aunt's guidance, I've come to understand that even as Cinderella, she was still a count's daughter, a suitable match for the prince. So it's just a love story about two people of equal social standing who overcome some obstacles and live happily ever after. I chuckled. All right then, tell me this. If you were Cinderella, living in that family, what would you do? Would you kindly endure your stepmother's abuse? Try to tell your father? Or fight back yourself? Telling my father wouldn't work. If he cared about her, Cinderella wouldn't have been mistreated for so long. Fighting back herself is also risky. If she's too obvious about it, she'll get a reputation for disrespecting her elders and won't be able to get married. She can't run away either. A runaway girl would also have her reputation ruined and be unmarriageable. So, the only thing she can do is endure. You're young, but your thinking is very clear. So, in your view, Cinderella's fate was sealed. Of course not. It might seem like enduring is the only option, but there's actually a lot she could do. Take reputation, for example. It's wrong to disrespect your elders, but it's also wrong for a stepmother to treat her stepdaughter so poorly. The stepmother has two other daughters. She has to consider that if her own reputation is bad, her daughters might not be able to find husbands either. From the driver's seat, Chloe glanced at the two of us in the back through the rearview mirror. Hearing Leo's words, she gave an almost imperceptible nod. I was stunned by the 8-year-old's logic. So you mean, Leo explained his reasoning logically. I scratched my head. The car pulled into the parking lot and came to a smooth stop. Leo was the first one to jump out, his childish excitement impossible to contain. I quickly got out and took his hand, instructing him carefully. There are so many people here, and it's especially crowded today. You're so cute, exactly the type kidnappers look for. So you have to hold my hand or your aunt's hand and stay close to us at all times. If anything seems wrong, you call for us, understand? Don't worry, Ethan. I'm not stupid. I'll definitely stick close to you and Aunt Chloe. Kids aren't as strong as adults. If someone tried to grab me, fighting back wouldn't do any good. Our teacher told us that, so I won't run off. Alright, as long as the kid knew what to do, the adults could relax a little. The three of us arrived at the main gate. Since I had bought tickets in advance, we just had to print them out, which was much easier than waiting in the long line at the ticket booth. Inside the gate, the park was bustling with people. Chloe and I were the kind of attractive people who naturally draw attention in a crowd, so it was no surprise that we turned a lot of heads as we entered. Some people even looked like they wanted to approach us, but they stopped when they saw Leo, whose hands we were each holding. Look at that young couple with the kid over there. They're so good looking. At first glance, I thought they were celebrities. Sigh, too bad they're both taken. Otherwise, I'd go try my luck. I was just thinking, do all the handsome men in the world end up with beautiful women? So a not-so-pretty woman like me has no chance of finding a handsome guy? That's so depressing. Are you guys still hung up on that? All I can think is that their little boy is so adorable, and he looks so well-behaved. I hope I can have a son like that someday. Girl, wake up. Neither you nor your husband are that good-looking. How do you expect to have a gorgeous kid? I wanted to laugh hearing their conversation. It was a shame Leo wasn't my son, or I'd be laughing in my sleep. Ethan, what should we ride first? That depends on what you want to ride. I think the roller coaster and bumper cars sound fun. Are you interested in those? I had never been to an amusement park myself, so I only knew a few of the rides. Leo hesitated, looked at the roller coaster track in the distance, and made up his mind. Let's go on the roller coaster then. Roller coaster first, then bumper cars it is. There were a lot of people at the roller coaster, either parents with their kids or couples on a date. Without waiting for Chloe, I voluntarily got in the back of the line and waved to her and Leo. I'll wait in line here. If you guys get tired, you can go rest on the side. The way people around us looked at us changed. A woman nearby was green with envy, telling her boyfriend, "A guy that handsome is actually willing to wait in line while his wife and kid rest on the side. I'm so jealous." What's wrong? You have a problem with that? You only see the handsome guy waiting in line, but did you see how beautiful his wife is? And she's wearing all designer brands. Her outfit alone must be worth at least $50,000. If you had that kind of money, you could hire someone to wait in line for you. That handsome guy must be dumb or have no status at home. If I had his looks, I would never be with a woman who doesn't love me like that. The man accidentally blurted out his true thoughts, earning him a kick in the shin from his girlfriend. What did you just say? I dare you to say it again. No, I was just kidding. It was a joke. You have such great character. You would never do something so classless. Leo tugged on Chloe's sleeve. He had heard the whole exchange and knew his aunt must have too. Is it okay to make Ethan wait in line? Didn't your teacher ever tell you about gender equality? He'll wait for this ride, and for the next ones, we'll each take a turn, including you. Leo breathed a sigh of relief. So they weren't just exploiting Ethan's labor. He used to dislike the old Ethan, that was true, but his opinion of me had changed. With the old Ethan, he wouldn't have cared how Chloe treated him. But with the current Ethan, he felt bad seeing him being put to work. The current Ethan was so much better. A few women, some married, some not, somehow managed to steer the conversation to a completely unrelated topic. Leo didn't want to listen to their nonsense anymore, so he pulled Chloe to a nearby bench to sit down. Since Ethan wasn't going to be the one waiting in line all day, there was no need to feel guilty. Everyone would have to take their turn later anyway. After a short wait, it was our turn. Leo, without a doubt, sat in the middle with Chloe and me on either side. Even after we were seated on the roller coaster, people kept turning to stare at us, which made me a bit uncomfortable. But when I glanced over, the great heiress Chloe was sitting on the roller coaster as if she were in her office, still exuding an air of nobility, completely unfazed. And Leo was completely ignoring the people around him, his big eyes blinking as he happily checked his safety harness. He even remembered to remind me, "Ethan, double check if your belt is tight. Don't be careless. I've checked it once, it's fine. Don't worry." After that, I looked at Chloe again. The great heiress sat there very calmly, as if none of this mattered to her. I suddenly became very curious. On a ride as thrilling as a roller coaster, would the great heiress react like a normal person? Or could she remain perfectly composed even then? I had to watch closely. With that thought in mind, I kept a part of my attention on Chloe from the moment the ride started. At first, the car moved slowly, gradually climbing the track. As we neared the highest point, my heart was in my throat. The crucial part was about to begin. Just a second before the car reached the peak, Chloe finally deigned to unclasp her hands and grip the safety bar, but her expression remained unchanged, her gaze fixed straight ahead. The next second, the car plunged down from the peak, gaining speed rapidly. My tolerance was decent. It wasn't unbearable for me. Little Leo was nothing but excited, not scared at all. All around us, screams of excitement and terror erupted, but Chloe, even with her hair being whipped around by the wind, only frowned slightly. She showed no other reaction, as if she weren't on a roller coaster at all. Feeling the strong wind in my face and my body being thrown around, I looked at the woman beside me, who remained composed even as we were tossed from side to side and even upside down. I couldn't help but complain internally. The great heiress really can stay as calm as ever. What's the fun in riding a roller coaster like that? The ride wasn't long, only a few minutes at most. As the car slowed down, the screams around us faded, but the excited look on Leo's face hadn't completely disappeared. I just watched Chloe. Even with her hair a bit messy, her elegant aura was undeniable. Ethan, wasn't that awesome? I was a little scared the last time I came, but this time I wasn't scared at all. I think I'm super brave. The moment his feet touched solid ground, Leo grabbed my arm and said excitedly. He almost stumbled as he took a step, so I quickly steadied him, though I didn't dare move myself. Yes, our Leo is very brave. Not being afraid of a roller coaster at only 8 years old, you're much braver than me. I cried when I rode a roller coaster in middle school. Back then, a roller coaster had been installed in the park near my house. I was on a rare break, and my equally free parents took me to try it once. I didn't dare open my eyes for the entire ride. Even after it was over, I plopped down on the ground and had a good cry. I was young and had never experienced anything so thrilling. It was a lot for a kid. You really were a scaredy cat then. I didn't even cry when I wrote it before I was 6. Don't worry. Next time you're scared of something, you can hold my hand. With me by your side, you won't have to be afraid. Okay, then thank you in advance, Leo. He was such a little angel. Those heartwarming words, paired with his adorable expression, just melted my heart. What should we ride next? Bumper cars. Yeah, bumper cars. Ethan wants to ride them. No, wait. When did I say I wanted to ride the bumper cars? I was baffled. I never said I wanted to. I was just making a suggestion. If you didn't want to ride them, why did you suggest it? Adults can ride bumper cars too. No, I really didn't want to ride them. I only suggested it because I couldn't think of any other rides off the top of my head. I've never been to an amusement park before. Before I could explain, Chloe had already taken Leo's other hand and started walking. Leo's movement pulled me forward along with them. The two of them clearly didn't believe me and gave me no chance to explain. Honestly, if I tried to seriously explain that I didn't want to ride the bumper cars, would they think I was just trying to save face? I thought about it for 2 minutes and came to a very certain conclusion. It seemed I was riding the bumper cars today whether I wanted to or not. There were noticeably fewer people waiting for the bumper cars than for the roller coaster, so Chloe had Leo go wait in line. The little guy stood there, attracting a crowd of adoring gazes. A little girl nearby had been crying inconsolably, and her father couldn't calm her down. But the moment she saw Leo, her crying stopped instantly. She struggled out of her father's arms and darted over to Leo's side. Under the watchful eyes of the surrounding crowd, the little girl shamelessly took Leo's hand, blinked her big eyes, and said adorably, "Hey, let's play together." The little girl was about 5 years old, barely reaching Leo's shoulder. There, don't cry. We're all here to ride the bumper cars, right? So of course we can play together later. There are lots of cars in the arena. Okay, we'll play together. Daddy, Mommy, I want to play with him. I like him. All right, then Daddy will go wait in line for you. I watched as the little girl held on to Leo, chattering away. Leo had a soothing smile on his face, occasionally responding or nodding in agreement. The two kids seemed to be having a great time. He already knows how to charm girls at this age. What's he going to be like when he grows up? That little girl is very cute. No, it's that Leo is polite. Didn't you hear how boring her topics of conversation were? Something about her doll having big eyes, and her parents taking her to a movie. Some of it was completely illogical. Only our Leo would have the patience to chat with her like that, like he's humoring a child. Boys aren't interested in that stuff. Yes, humoring a girl. Less than 2 minutes later, a slightly chubby boy approached Leo and the little girl, trying to join their conversation. The little girl turned her head away in disdain, ignoring him and only talking to Leo. Leo nodded at the boy but then went right back to talking to the little girl, making no effort to include him. The boy, probably sensing he wasn't welcome, dejectedly returned to his parents. All right, he was definitely charming the girl. When it was our turn, Leo gently sent the little girl back to her parents. Then, without a second thought, he grabbed Chloe and me, quickly got us registered, and hopped into a car. From the way he drove, you couldn't tell he had any intention of waiting for the little girl to play with him. The best part about bumper cars is crashing into each other. My driving skills are average, but here there was no need to be afraid. The whole point was to crash. Leo would occasionally bump into the other drivers. Seeing how beautiful Chloe was, some people deliberately crashed into her, trying to strike up a conversation. Chloe, on the other hand, drove as if she were practicing her skills, perfectly dodging every car around her, giving no one a chance to hit her. I watched in amazement. When she realized people were intentionally targeting her, Chloe started actively avoiding them. Those who tried to hit her couldn't even touch the edge of her car. Instead, she sent them scattering. So, the group turned their attention to Leo and me. In the end, Chloe deliberately created an opening to draw them away. When the time was finally up, I immediately drove my car over at the attendant's call and got out without a shred of reluctance. I never want to ride that thing again in my life. Leo was also fuming. He grabbed me as soon as he got out and started complaining. Those people have no manners. They don't even know us, and they just kept crashing into us. Crashing is one thing, but they hit so hard, my head hurts. I was going to try and save you, but they knocked me off course, and then a bunch of other kids started ramming into me, sending me further and further away. It's so infuriating. It wasn't that bad. It's mainly because you're so cute. Just like that little girl earlier, she liked you and wanted to play with you. The kids driving the cars probably liked you too, so they crashed into you to play. So they crashed into you because you're handsome? You were pretty good looking, but your skills are really terrible. My aunt managed to dodge a whole group of them, and I think she even helped you get out of being surrounded later. Thinking about Chloe's performance just now, Leo didn't hesitate. He grabbed her hand, his face full of admiration. Aunt Chloe, you're the best. Can you teach me? So many people were trying to hit you just now, but not a single one managed to. Hey, thanks. Chloe gave me a nonchalant nod, then said bluntly to Leo, you're too young and too short. You can't even reach the gas and brake pedals properly. Don't overthink it. Focus on eating more and growing taller first. There are some things in life you just can't do anything about, like height. Leo instantly deflated. He wasn't even short for his class, but he was still just a kid. How could he possibly compare to an adult? It's okay. When you grow up, you'll definitely be even better than your aunt, don't worry. But you can drink a glass of milk before bed. I'll get it for you from now on. Drinking more milk helps you grow taller. Yeah, even if I can't be as tall as an adult, I'll at least be the tallest among kids my age. So what should we ride next? I was starting to regret not looking up a guide before we came. As I was thinking, a little boy walking past with his parents started jumping excitedly. The pirate ship. I'm going to ride the pirate ship. I immediately asked Leo, do you want to ride the pirate ship too? Sure. I want to ride everything. I pulled out the map and saw that the pirate ship was just ahead, not far from where we were. Let's go then. We got to the pirate ship just as the previous group was getting off and the next group was boarding. We had timed it perfectly. However, based on our spot in line, we ended up in the seats at the very end, which meant the ride would probably be more intense. Leo was still buzzing with excitement, and Chloe was as calm as ever. I, on the other hand, was getting nervous. I had never been on one of these things. I'd seen in TV shows where the main character rides one and ends up throwing up everywhere afterward. I might just be a side character, but motion sickness doesn't discriminate, does it? Ethan, why are you squeezing my hand so tight? It kind of hurts. Oh, sorry. I'm just a little excited. I was too embarrassed to admit I was nervous, so I claimed excitement instead. When I let go, I saw that Leo's hand was a little red, which made me feel terrible. Are you okay? Does it hurt a lot? It's fine, I'm okay. But you don't have to be that excited. Switch seats with him, Chloe said suddenly. Both of us froze. Why? To prevent weight imbalance. Leo and I followed her gaze. We were sitting on the far left while the right side was filled with adults with the children in the middle. At a glance, it did seem like our side was significantly lighter. Oh, okay then. Leo stood up and switched places with me. This time I was in the middle with Leo on my right and Chloe on my left. I had just secured my safety bar when Chloe took my left hand, and Leo immediately followed suit, taking my right. The two of them, one big and one small, holding my hands gave me a feeling of being protected, which was incredibly touching. The pirate ship started to move, swinging higher and higher, and many people began to scream with the rhythm of the ride. It was better than I expected. It was thrilling but not terrifying. I probably wouldn't throw up. I told myself I'm just a side character. I don't get the main character treatment of having a delicate constitution. The ship swayed for a while longer before the arc gradually decreased. I felt Chloe's grip on my hand loosen a bit. When the ride finally came to a stop, both of them let go. Ethan, you were so brave. You didn't throw up or cry. You're tougher than I thought. Even a lot of adults are scaredy cats, like that person over there. Leo pointed to a woman by the trash can, who was violently ill into a plastic bag. See? She's really sick. I followed his finger and saw that the woman was quite beautiful. Even while being sick, she maintained a minimum of grace, and remarkably, her elegant aura was unaffected. Park staff hurried over to check on her. The woman lifted her head slightly, and I caught a glimpse of her face. She looked familiar, but I couldn't for the life of me remember where I had seen her before. Don't point at people, and don't comment on strangers, Chloe said, gently pushing Leo's hand down, her tone instructive. Leo immediately retracted his hand and nodded obediently. Never mind other people. Let's go. It's been over 2 hours. Are you hungry? Thirsty? I unzipped Leo's backpack and held it out for him to pick a snack. Then I took off my own backpack, opened it, and handed him a carton of milk. Thanks, Ethan. You and Aunt Chloe should have some too. Eating snacks in front of the great heiress, let alone offering her some, felt like a major challenge. As I hesitated, Chloe had already taken both backpacks from my hands. What do you want to eat? Although she wasn't talking to me, I was a little surprised. I figured maybe it was because we were out having fun. Since the opportunity was there, I might as well eat. I took out cookies, potato chips, and a can of soda. I was just craving junk food. What could I do? Chloe glanced at the items in my hand but said nothing. Just as Leo was about to open his mouth, she shot him a look that successfully silenced the "I want a soda too" that was about to escape his lips. As we were eating, I noticed Chloe hadn't touched any of the snacks. She was still holding back. Do you want some? Snacks aren't that bad, really. The additives are all within safe limits, and since you never eat them, having a little once in a while is fine. It's not as dramatic as you think. It won't make you sick. You eat, Chloe said. She didn't reject me outright, but the meaning was clear. I went back to my own food but asked one more time, do you want some water then? I brought bottled water. Next time, buy the other brand of bottled water. Okay. I sighed internally, speechless. The big boss was broke but still insisted on drinking designer water. I had no idea what the difference could possibly be. Was a $10 bottle of water really better than a $2 one? It was all just mineral water. After a short break, Leo wanted to see a movie, so the three of us headed towards the animation theater. Along the way, Leo chattered nonstop. The last time I was here, we were supposed to see a movie, but my parents were in a hurry, so we missed it. I want to see if the cartoons here are different from the ones in regular theaters. I finally get my chance today. My classmates said the movies here are better, so I'm really curious. How different could it be? It was just a matter of perspective. I figured the kid was in for a disappointment. I shook my head internally. The downside of a child being too smart is that nothing is a surprise anymore, because everything is predictable. Sure enough, Leo was excited at first, but after watching for a little while, he was completely unimpressed and was tugging on our arms to leave. The moment we were outside, he started complaining. That movie was no different from the ones I usually watch, and I was so looking forward to it. It's all a lie. My classmate must have tricked me into wasting my time here. He's so mean. I'll get him back when I get to school. You can't say that. Maybe that kid really did think it was great. To each his own, right? I was genuinely afraid he would go confront the other kid, only to be told, it's great when you watch it with your parents, which would be like rubbing salt in the wound. Oh right, I guess people with no taste think everything is good. His comment earned him a light tap on the head from Chloe. Speak nicely. It's rude to talk about people behind their backs. Okay. He rubbed the back of his head, his disdainful expression gone, replaced by his usual cute little boy look, though his eyes seemed a bit strange. What are you thinking? Sigh. I was just thinking that if he thought a movie like that was good, my classmate probably hasn't seen many good things in his life. I was dumbfounded. In less than 3 seconds, with just one tap from Chloe, the kid had instinctively learned how to throw subtle shade. Was this okay? I turned stiffly to look at Chloe, but she seemed completely oblivious. She patted Leo's head with a hint of praise. No, wait, was it really okay to teach a child like this? The kid clearly knew that saying this would make the other kids look down on his classmate, leaving the classmate unable to defend himself. He was doing it on purpose. Don't worry, Ethan. I'm a good kid who loves his classmates. I could only manage a weak smile. We were done with the rides, and a glance at the time showed it was already past 11 a.m. It's almost noon. Should we get something to eat? I'm not that hungry, but it's lunchtime. We can't just live on snacks. I want McDonald's. I could understand other kids wanting that, but you used to eat gourmet food every day. Why would you like that stuff? I felt a little embarrassed. I put so much effort into cooking every day, and the little guy still wanted to go to McDonald's. The great heiress wouldn't think I was just slacking off with my cooking when she wasn't home, would she? I just want to try it. The atmosphere there is different. Even if I eat gourmet food every day, it doesn't mean I can't change things up once in a while. Aunt Chloe, just let me have it this once. It won't kill me. Eating junk food occasionally won't make me sick. Besides, just let me be happy today. Chloe just stood there, tall and poised. I thought Leo was a real daredevil. If it were me, I would never have the guts to grab someone like her and shake her arm. In the end, Chloe agreed. She took Leo to McDonald's and even asked me, do you want some? Or would you rather eat something else? I'm fine with anything. I haven't had McDonald's in a long time. I didn't really care. Come to think of it, I was kind of craving it too. It was a good chance to indulge with Leo. Speaking of which, I had forgotten something we had agreed on earlier. Leo, didn't you want to go check the prices of things here? Oh, right. He remembered their conversation from before they left. He immediately let go of our hands and ran towards a nearby shop. I quickly followed, not wanting to lose him in the crowd. When Leo came out of the shop, his face was a mask of shock and disbelief. The price of a drink can actually double. Oh my God, that's just not logical. It's not illogical. It's always been this way. Things at tourist attractions are even more expensive. For example, a roasted ear of corn that normally costs $4 can sell for $10 at a tourist spot. Why? Because it's a one-time business. Tourists leave and don't come back, and the people who buy food are often the ones who didn't bring any. When you're hungry, you don't really care about the price. It's not like you can't afford it, so you just buy it. And there's the cost. Oh, right, and what your aunt said about cost. An ear of corn isn't expensive, and even roasting it doesn't cost much. But to sell it inside, you have to pay an extra fee to the park management. That cost is definitely passed on to the tourists, so the price is higher. Then the person who makes the most money must be the owner of the tourist attraction, right? All they have to do is build it, hire some people to manage it, and they can collect a lot of money. And if you add in the ticket fees from the tourists, that's even more money. He was a sterling, after all, born and raised in a world of business. His quick thinking was truly impressive. I thought back to when I was Leo's age. I was probably just playing around without a care in the world. But you also have to think about how to get the government to approve the land for you, and how to get enough money to build the attraction, and then how to hire the right management staff and maintain the place. You have to think all of that through. It's a bit complicated, but that's okay. I'm still young. I'll definitely figure it out when I'm older. I'll find a way then. It's not that easy. I shook my head internally. The great heiress was just saying that to make Leo understand that things weren't so simple. When it actually comes time to do it, who knows how much trouble it will be. Even someone as capable as the great heiress had failed. Did she not understand those principles? It just goes to show that knowing how something works doesn't mean you can actually do it. There are too many external factors, and a lot of the time, things are out of your control, like the protagonist's plot armor, something beyond normal comprehension. After we got home, everything went back to normal. I kept a regular schedule, waking up on time to cook, tidying up the house, and then starting to write. After lunch and cleaning up, I would take a nap. In the afternoon, I'd continue writing and do research to prepare for taking on design commissions later. In the evening, I'd write after dinner, occasionally browsing other websites or watching a show to relax. Besides that, I set aside specific times for laundry, cleaning, grocery shopping, and, of course, regular exercise to stay in shape. If Leo needed it, I would also take the little guy out from time to places like the museum or the library to pass the time. Chloe was busy almost every day. I didn't know what she was busy with. She would only appear for breakfast and dinner, and at night she would check on what Leo had done all day. She never said anything about me taking Leo out, so I assumed she was okay with our current arrangement. But while peace and quiet were nice, there were still problems to be solved. So, one morning at breakfast, I brought up the topic of the apartment again. Leo looked at Chloe. He had been feeling quite constrained at night, afraid to move around too much while sleeping in the same room as her. He also hoped to have his own room so he could toss and turn as much as he wanted. I've already found a place. We can move in next week. As for you buying an apartment, a seemingly good development is opening for sale the week after next. We can go take a look then, Chloe answered. I finally relaxed. It was good to know the big boss hadn't forgotten about my request. The following week, just as she had said, Chloe told me to get ready to move to a new rental. Aunt Chloe, does that mean I'll have my own room? I hope it has a bookshelf. The bed doesn't have to be big, just big enough to sleep in. While we waited for the moving truck, Leo's chattering never stopped. Yay, I knew you were the best, Aunt Chloe. Ethan, we're moving to a bigger place. Aren't you happy? Leo and Chloe moved into the new rental, and the three of us began to unpack. Of course I'm happy. Why wouldn't I be? In truth, I didn't feel much of anything. It wasn't my house anyway, so it didn't make much difference to me where we lived. I grew up in a 2-bedroom apartment. As an only child, my parents had always subtly spoiled me, so I never had a strong desire for a big house. You know, if a person has never lacked for love, never suffered from a lack of money, and has a laid-back personality, they probably won't have a strong desire for material things. I was a classic example of someone who seemed to live a modest life but was actually always happy. To be honest, I actually found small houses to be more convenient and cozy. But coziness is one thing, and reality is another. We couldn't have Leo sharing a room with Chloe forever. No, I'm really happy too. I'm gonna earn money and buy lots and lots of books. This place doesn't even have a proper study. I've been holding it in for so long. That was little Leo's biggest complaint. The apartment was too small to fit anything, and since it was a rental, Chloe hadn't set up a separate study for him like she had in the mansion. With nothing to do in his spare time, he was forced to watch childish cartoons, and he was bored to death. I thought you were always watching cartoons before. I didn't know you loved reading so much. I only watched those because I had nothing else to do. I don't actually like such childish cartoons. But the other kids in my class like them, and Aunt Chloe said that you can be smart, but if you don't have the power to back it up, you can't be too different from the crowd, or you'll be ostracized. My God, the big boss truly is the big boss. Leo was so young, and she was already teaching him such profound principles. What else did I say? Oh, Aunt Chloe, you also said that I should treat everything as if it's supposed to be that way. I shouldn't have implied that my classmates were dumb just because I'm smart. Even if I think it, I should forget it, hypnotize myself into believing that all my classmates are great. If I had been drinking tea right then, I would have spat it all out. Good grief, an elementary school kid was being taught this stuff. It made me feel like I was a complete idiot as a child. I didn't figure that out until I was in high school. Read. Chloe casually pulled a book from one of the packed boxes and handed it to Leo. He took it obediently and started reading without even looking at the cover. I glanced over and happened to see the title, The Art of War. Alright, the child of a big boss is destined to be a big boss. A mere mortal like me should probably keep my opinions to myself. The moving truck arrived quickly, but there wasn't much to move. It was only when we started unpacking that I realized most of the stuff was things I had bought, and most of it was daily necessities. It was Leo who couldn't stand it anymore and gestured for Chloe to say something to me. Only then did I give up on packing basic items like oil, salt, and vinegar. Fortunately, the clothes that had once taken up almost my entire bedroom had mostly been sold, which made moving much easier. The new apartment was in another complex not too far away, with better security and a nicer environment than the previous one. Inside, I found that the layout was also very good. Having worked in design before, I walked around the apartment and had to admit that Chloe had chosen a really nice place this time. It had basic renovations done in my favorite minimalist style. Black, white, and gray are timeless, and it was very pleasing to the eye. Even the furniture was a matching set. The best part was the swing on the balcony, which fulfilled my dream of having a swing to read on whenever I wanted. Wow, this place is so much better than the last one. I love it. I like it too. Chloe strode through the apartment, directing the movers to place things in their designated spots. She glanced at the two satisfied figures, one big and one small, and her eyes softened for a moment before she went back to directing the workers. About an hour later, the movers had finished and left. I pulled a towel I had packed earlier from a box and waved it at Leo. Leo, time to start working on our new home. I'll wipe the tables and sweep, and the rest is yours. No problem. I'll do the windows and mop. What about me? Her question made the two of us, who were already dividing the chores, freeze. Huh? Aunt Chloe, you're gonna work too? And no, you don't have to. Ethan and I are enough. We can handle it. The thought of his aunt doing chores was something he had never considered, never seen, and found completely unacceptable. Yeah, we can finish it. You can go do your own thing. In all this time, I had never seen the great boss do any of this. I had to admit, seeing her do manual labor would make me feel guilty. I'll do the windows. You two can do the rest. She glanced at the floor-to-ceiling balcony windows and assigned herself the task. Before I could say anything, she took the other towel from my hand. I felt her fingers brush against mine and instinctively shivered. What's wrong? Are you cold? No. I'm probably just a bit dehydrated from not drinking enough water these past few days. It's fine. I'll just drink more water. It definitely wasn't because the great boss had touched me. I wasn't made of glass. It's not like I couldn't be touched. It would be better if you ate fewer snacks. A dagger flew through the air and stabbed me right in the heart, successfully making my face darken. Hearing this, Leo, after making sure Chloe wasn't looking, quickly darted into my bedroom. If he didn't run, his aunt might throw a dagger his way next, and he still wanted his snacks. What I got was Chloe turning her back on me. The trash bag is changed every day. How can there be so much trash in the house? I slapped the back of my left hand with my right. How could I have forgotten that? But the great boss was out all day, so busy and always in her room. How did she have time to observe the living room trash bag? From now on, fewer snacks and more water. Let's get to work. Leo, who was wiping the nightstand in his bedroom, had no idea that because of his aunt's words, Ethan had just decided to cut his snack supply. If he had known, he probably wouldn't have chosen to disappear at the first sign of trouble. After more than an hour of work, the apartment was finally clean. This included the time I spent pretending to sweep while secretly watching Chloe's back. I would never admit that I was planning to write a character like her into my new novel. Who told her to always bring up my snacking habits? Anyway, the original novel doesn't exist in this world. Making a real-life CEO like Chloe the main character would definitely be a huge hit. I'll leave out the bankruptcy part. Writing about her pre-bankruptcy life would still be realistic and definitely popular. Ethan, why do I feel like you're looking at my aunt strangely today? What's wrong? I get it. It's fine. I'm sure my aunt doesn't mind. You're married after all. There's nothing to be embarrassed about. It's normal for you to like my aunt. It would be worse if you didn't. Shouldn't a husband and wife like each other? He was as cute as could be, and I almost burst out laughing. Chloe, who was on her way to the bathroom to wash a towel, happened to overhear our conversation and got a thoughtful look in her eyes. I quickly tiptoed inside, and the two of them immediately clammed up as if they hadn't said a word. Cleaning the apartment wasn't as tiring as I had expected, so I decided to cook at home. There was a large supermarket here, bigger than the one at our old complex, which would make shopping much more convenient. I needed to go take a look and buy some vegetables and fruit. This time, Leo obediently stayed behind, but who would have thought Chloe would want to go again? I stopped her. You don't have to go, really. I can carry it all back myself. It's my first time there, so I won't buy too much, just enough for today. I'll be back soon. You two just rested after all that work. If you don't go, how are you going to carry back the snacks? Was she ever going to let this go? But I did want to buy some snacks, so I couldn't really argue with the boss. I had to let her come. In the end, I bought a lot of things out of spite, and the two of us came back with 3 large bags. It was a bit unsettling to see the great boss carrying groceries, but it was her fault for always teasing me. The 3 of us slept very comfortably that first night. Chloe didn't say anything, but to be honest, with Leo sleeping next to me, I was a little uncomfortable too. Having had my own room since I was a child, I wasn't used to sharing with others. Even though Leo was well-behaved and didn't move much, having another person in my space made me uneasy. I had been busy all day. I didn't feel tired, but I actually was. After washing up, I fell asleep the moment my eyes closed and slept soundly until the next morning. And Leo, of course, was even happier. He had his own bed and could toss and turn as much as he wanted. For the next 2 days, all 3 of us enjoyed the benefits of the new apartment. One day, Chloe called me to go look at apartments again. This must be the one she mentioned we were going to buy. I had been looking forward to this for so long. I could finally have a place of my own in this world. Chloe was good to me and Leo was adorable. Even though we weren't really related, I considered them my friends. But I still didn't feel a sense of belonging in this world. Chloe was a side character, my former wife. Leo was her nephew. Everything I had now had nothing to do with my real self. I was just an outsider. But having an apartment would change that. With an apartment, I would have a place to put down roots in this world. Even if I parted ways with Chloe and Leo in the future, I would have a place to go. I could still write, be a freelancer. This would be my own space, my foundation. Of course, even without it, I could afford to rent with my current income, but it wouldn't give me the same peace of mind. The place Chloe took me to was a bit far from our rental. The city's housing prices were on the rise, and there were plenty of buyers. When we arrived, a large crowd had already gathered outside. Fortunately, Chloe didn't try to push through the crowd with me. Instead, she led me directly through the staff entrance. She was a former big boss, after all. When she made a move, even without deliberately using her connections, many people would still show her some courtesy. The people here were more than just courteous to Chloe. They were treating her like a guest of honor. Following Chloe, I experienced what it was like to get VIP treatment for the first time, and at such a hot real estate sale. We were led directly to a VIP room, which was luxuriously decorated. The tea the staff served us was the kind you could tell was outrageously expensive just by its scent. It was good tea. Even someone like me who knows nothing about tea could tell it wasn't cheap. We're just here to look at an apartment. Is all this really necessary? Do you know the owner? This is a project. Maya started to shut her family up. She won't be touching real estate again after this. Just pick a unit. We'll pay whatever the price is. Even though she's the developer, coming in like this feels like we're taking advantage. Isn't that a bit inappropriate? If the great boss were buying the apartment, it would be one thing. But since it was going to be in my name, using her privileges felt wrong. Besides, she had made it clear she didn't like me much. The cold, appraising look she gave me when she first came to our place was something I remembered clearly. We're still paying. You're just getting to pick a unit. It's all business for her. Makes no difference. These 3 buildings have the best layouts and locations. Excluding the bottom 6 and top 6 floors, you can pick any unit from the rest. See which one you like. Alright, no more being difficult. If the boss says pick, I'll pick. I figured, worst case, I'll just write more and buy another apartment in the future. So I started to seriously study the floor plans. I have to say, although my specialty is interior design, I know a bit about architectural design, and these 3 buildings were indeed very well designed. After looking through them, I chose a 3-bedroom, 2-living-room layout. If we were still married after the renovations were done, the 3 of us could live there. If we got divorced and I got the apartment, I could use one room as a bedroom, one as a studio, and the last one as a recreation room. It was perfect. Once I had chosen the layout, it was time to see it in person. Chloe and I followed the staff to the site. The surrounding area wasn't finished yet, and the hallways were a mess. Usually, they start selling apartments before construction even begins. Why did Maya build them first before selling? Because I told her before that if the buildings are well made, they'll have no trouble selling. And with housing prices continuously rising, the later she sells, the higher the price. I see. As expected of the great boss who used to be involved in major construction projects. She was on a completely different level from a transmigrated pseudo-intellectual like me.